And I think we are live, gentlemen.
And
We are.
Okay, so
in that case.
yeah, about those gamer words you were asking me about. Here's the first one.
So, rather than the kind of free for all that we did last time, I figured this time we'd at least have a topic. And
Yeah,
that topic is social media and its effect on the hobby. So, when I say social media, I'm talking about, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, X, whatever the hell you want to call it. You name it.
So
And
let's get out the light topic. Start with something light.
sure, what you got?
Well, I think social media is neither social nor media, but an opportunity for people with poor impulse control to shit out their most inane thoughts in the least consistent manner, just to feel seen and to interact with the world. And this makes me long for the days of old forums where people could match a face to a voice and a profile, and you couldn't just make burner accounts and effectively shitpost or make bot farms and boost your shitty opinions. And from all the apps for social media I use, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, I dislike two-thirds of it. Facebook is just say your personal data for convenience, and Instagram is nothing but glamour shots and lying about how you feel, how you are, and what are your accomplishments to look good for nobody in particular. And these all make, I think, really bad environment for constructive hobby talk, because on Instagram, when I check it, and it's less and less these days, everybody has perfect shots of their minis, and everybody is a really great painter, and we don't see the struggle, we don't see the learning process, and or everything is behind the paywall on Patreon, on Subscribestar, whatever. And I don't think that these social media sites are conducive to any conductive experience and any to any hobby group whatsoever.
Well, I kind of agree with that. At one end, you have the ability to share your work and, interact with other people in the hobby outside of IRL. But at the same time, as you mentioned, it's easier for people to signal boost their shitty opinions. And, when half the time I'm looking at whatever, if I'm scrolling, doesn't matter what it is, you're always going to see something that it's like, all right, what does this have to do with the hobby? And I feel like, as you mentioned, it gives people a way of injecting shit into the hobby that really doesn't need to be there. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think, was it Cerberus that really got signal boosted off of Instagram with his Pride Minis? I think that's one of the places where he just blew the fuck up out of nowhere.
Yeah, and don't forget the hashtag Faces of Warhammer. That was giving me fits, because it's, well, unfortunately, it's a big fucking lie. Because why are we scrolling Instagram? For nice pictures of very good painted minis. And
so I don't know what that, because I don't use Instagram, so I don't know what that is.
There was an Instagram influencer or whatever the fuck, a girl, and or woman, biological female. That's stick with the Paul correct team. And her thing was that she painted something, and the photo she uploaded to Instagram was her face next to a mini. And when you paint something on 25, 32, 40, 50 millimeter base, it's not that easy to see when your face is in the picture and it's the main focus. And somebody, or I don't know, more people, I don't know, but the usual harassing messages came in, and she started posting. She started bitching about, and somebody started the hashtag, and it was last year, I think, or earlier this year, and everybody who ever painted Warhammer minis started posting photos with this hashtag and their faces with the last painted mini, and that, oh, everybody is welcome in this hobby, and the usual buzzwords. And it's a blatant fucking lie, I think, because I'm not interested in you as a person when I'm looking at your paint job. You can be proud and you can upload photos standing next to mini, next to a cabinet with your paint jobs, but I'm primarily not interested in you. I'm interested in the labor of in your labor.
So in other words, it kind of goes along with that statement of bringing activism into everything, I guess, where you're trying to.
Yes, no?
Yeah, that, or as other people like to say, a virtue signal.
Yeah.
Yes. And in this case, I think this was a virtue signal and some attention grabbing. There was some signal boosting from either some. I don't think it was a GW account, but from when people had names and faces within the War Machine, the Warhammer team, they signal boosted this, and right now I think, as I remember, this chick is a full-time Twitch streamer, so...
Oh, well, that makes sense.
Make of it what you will. Make of it what you will, but I think this was just a quick smash and grab that... Hey, I'm a chick. I paint, and look at this mini, and look at these nasty guys, and oh, woe is me. Feel sorry for me, and let me make a career.
You're just jealous. You're just jealous because you're not that
good. Yeah, most definitely.
Oh, so it's in some ways this kind of ties in, and. It's the fact that, and again, to sound like the grumpy old man, we used to have to kind of earn our way into hobbies and games. But I get the feeling that we keep running into people on social media that literally their entire knowledge of Warhammer is memes. Literally, the entire meme culture. And, well, I mean, I really don't have... I'm back after a very, very ridiculously long break, but like my friend Badger, when did you start playing? What was it, the -5th edition, like back in the 1800s or something? So.
Yeah. 98, yeah.
So, and I know it's got to drive him crazy when they're like, oh, Krieg, shovel, Krieg. And it's like, it's like, you're going to get a shovel in the head if you're not careful.
Literally hobbying right while we're doing this.
oh, his pile of shame. Oh, someday. It's literally a tractor trailer truck of shame, and that's not an exaggeration.
No, it's not.
What is it? Is it your Leviathan boxes?
What's
the ones that are to that one picture just to the right, the blue boxes?
Oh no, bro, those are just straight up tactical squads.
Okay. There's 10 of them, and I'm like, man, that's a lot of tactical squads. He goes, that's just the front row. They're still sealed in plastic.
You didn't count that right. There's 23 in that row.
It's just, I mean, it's so, it's got to just drive older gamers and hobbyists. And I know it does with D&D. It drives me insane how many people literally make meme characters And it's like, look, I'm happy to teach you, and everybody's got to start somewhere, but can you put a little bit of thought into your character? Don't just make a meme of it, please. If you want to make a human fighter, good on you. Good on you. At least you know what it's supposed to be.
So go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that whole you brought up D&D. I think that's kind of where I got the topic from, because if you look at almost everything that has to do with D&D now, outside of the hardcore fan base that has been involved in D&D for so long, it's just about, oh, well, how is this ableist, or how is this racist, or how can we be more inclusive? How can we have more diversity? It's like, it's D&D. What?
I'm an orc. Go away.
What are you doing?
Wheelchair clerics.
Oh, don't trigger me like that. Just but yeah, I mean, like I said, and again, everybody's low knowledge about a hobby. I am pouring myself into lore through videos, video games, audiobooks, so many novels. If my wife ever finds out I'm a dead man, how many novels I have. And I try to speak on a topic that I somewhat understand, but like I said, when it's literally meme and Reddit, and they're like, I'm ready to dive in and have a debate with somebody that's been in the hobby for 30 years. Fuck off.
Well, and if you go back to the, and I apologize, I wasn't looking at my Discord. The first gentleman that was speaking, who's that?
It's me, Metronoid.
Gotcha. Okay, so at least it's not Nurgle's butt pug. Got it. I just wanted to get his name out there. I think it's hilarious. No, he's absolutely right, and it's interesting. And I don't mean to do a shameless plug here, but like my whole channel on YouTube's devoted to teaching people how to do the struggle that he was talking about. It's not, hey, look at and even on Instagram, I'll post finished products, but I post like a link to that channel. Or I'm sorry, that episode, try to show what screenshots I can, that, like if I magnetize something, like the obelisk whatever, I'm going to mess the whole name up now because I'm super tired as well. But, the Necron, it's an obelisk, and it's the whatever that holds a Catan inside. I can't remember now. Got so many stinking models. But,
nerd.
Yeah, right. But, I totally agree with him. I mean, it's not, you're not there to figure out who this person is. That being said, I have met a few people that are, in other countries or whatever, that admired my work. I admired their work, and we had our own discussion, offline. But social media is, as I tell my friends on here and stuff that I've met, the narcissism is out of control. There is no way to have a normal debate, even if you disagree on the hobby in any way, shape, or form, without, and I'm going to be totally honest here, sometimes I'm just done with the nonsense, and I do the same thing I'm about to say, and then we just throw out the barbs or whatever you want to call them. But, usually I don't do that unless there's something to be said, like today with this whole Margaret Thatcher thing, going on again, and freaking whether or not 40K is satire. We've got all these folks that are picking and choosing what they see and not doing any of the research whatsoever to base their argument. And then when you show them literal proof, now you're the bad guy, you're the bigot, you're the Nazi, and whatever name they can come up with to shut you down and rant.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's the same circular arguments that you see all the time, every month, every week, of the same people saying the same stuff over and over again, and the same people refuting the claims. And going back to this topic is, I think that's because with social media in general being this, where everybody's interconnected, then obviously you're going to have one or two people that have never seen that argument before. And then it just perpetuates this ongoing war between, those that want things a certain way and people that don't want things to change. And,
right.
Yeah, I mean.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, the ego argument and the narcissism argument, you got that all the way back even on BBSs.
Yeah, true.
But and God, I saw it bad about 20 years ago on an Evangelion forum. But I think it's gotten really bad because of the ability for, especially say like Twitter and certain ways of communication on Facebook, for more near instant response, kind of like the same way you used to see in like AOL chat rooms.
Yeah. That's very valid.
So you can sit there and like in the heat of the moment just whip up a response, and that's where you see a lot of that argument. And also just the sheer size of the internet, inevitably somebody's not going to see an argument, so you keep having to bring up stuff over and over and over again.
Well, and we also have the point, if I may, that we're limited on in some cases we're limited on the amount of words and characters we can type, so you can't get everything out. Everybody, myself included, at some point when you really see that there's no real point to what the person is saying, it's TLDR, don't care, and you just you're looking for the headline, if you will. And I think that's where the argument does get lost. So even if somebody, let's just say, and I've had this happen on a rare occasion, but let's just say you had a person you vehemently disagree with, okay? That's completely fine. And then, 7 or 8 posts down, they make a point that if you're genuine, you'll go, well, no shit. That's right. But we're not dealing with those types of people that can admit to being wrong or be rational about things. And of course, as Weezy said, we come back to the whole circular argument. Well, that circular argument, is everything from, repeated parroted talking points to, dragging you into the politics. Forget the hobby, whatever. That's all you were talking about. But now all of a sudden, your left wing, your right wing, whatever. And I mean, it's easy to say, look at my post, for instance, on Twitter and go, oh, this guy, he's, right wing, whatever. Nah, I hate everybody equally. That's an asshole, and, I've got witnesses here to prove it. But the point being is, I don't get on Twitter. My account, for instance, on Twitter or X, whatever, was never meant to be a political space. It was meant for the hobby only, but it got drug into, and I'll be damned if I'm going to sit there and listen to somebody call me something or say whatever and then not show them proof. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Oh, well, a perfect example, and I won't name any names. I love Weezy's already in the booze. He's like, God, I need liquor. Yeah. But somebody that I pretty much disagree with on everything, and somebody posted a picture of them in a military uniform, U.S. Army uniform.
Oh no,
my branch, and you may know the discussion I'm having.
Mm-hmm.
And then somebody else went, well, yeah, that figures they're a pussy because they were in the Army. And I'm like, now I got to jump in and defend this person. Damn it. And I jump in and start tearing into the guy. And then Badger jumps in and starts tearing into the guy because it's like, look, those snarky comments are between us. We should present the united front. But I'm like, I have to defend somebody I really dislike on Twix or whatever the hell we want to call it.
Twix, that's a good
Twix,
one.
There you go. And I said, it's like, now you're going to make me defend this person. But I'm big enough man to go, okay, look, this is, like it or not, this is my brother, and I have to stick up for him.
Well, and again, I'll leave the name out, and I'm not trying to get recognition for this, but I was scrolling through this person's stuff because I got drug into it, and it's on the lines of female space marines and transgender, this and that. That's fine, but it it was a victim post basically, or a victimhood post, I mean to say, and all I said, that got me involved in it was, your points are wrong, and I gave validated facts. But then I scroll down and I see this jackass, and that's exactly what he was, with probably a burner account maybe. I mean, it had about 90 something people, I guess. his comment was, "Don't worry about it," to the OP. "You won't be here long." Well, I take that as a physical threat to that person. And even though like I said, I completely disagree with about 99% of their bullshit that they post, and that's how I said it. You don't get to say that. You don't get to say shit like that to people. You don't. And I get it. You can report people, blah blah blah. But that's not how people don't care. They need to hear this crap in their life at some point. You know what I mean? At least in my opinion.
Well, and it kind of calls back to what you said, Wheezy. One of the things I find interesting that if somebody new comes into the hobby and has a bad take, we'll generally give them the benefit of a doubt and say, "Hey, have you thought of it this way?" And we'll try
a couple of times.
Yeah, we'll try to bring them kind of into the conversation. Like, say, here's why that maybe you might want to rethink this. If you, the other side, and this happened today, literally in real time on Twix, is this person came in, they asked a question about, well, why do you think it's sarcasm? Why do you think Margaret Thatcher is an orc? Oh, are you crying? Are you whining? Are you getting triggered? And it's like, whoa, that's no way to treat a new person in the hobby. Give them the chance. We all ask that dumb question. Some of us ask that dumb question every day. But yeah, and I'm like, I will give us, we at least try to, we've got our bad apples, but we try to give the person, hey, this is why there aren't female Space Marines. Hey, this is why. Yes, as a matter of fact, Horus's last name is not Heresy, but Lupercal. So just little crazy things like that.
Well, I will.
John Warhammer.
I will say it's gotten easier, especially with social media, to kind of. Sometimes it's hard, but for the most part, it's easy to tell when somebody is being like really bad faith, and when somebody's just new. Because 9 times out of 10, the new person's just going to go, "Oh, I didn't know," right? Whereas the other people are going to continue to perpetuate the argument and keep it going, even though you've already refuted whatever claims they made.
Right.
Well, there was one girl, and she's like, "Well, I'm like 19 or 20, and I'm gay, and I'm really kind of scared of the Warhammer community because of all the horror stories." And I put in, "Hey, if you ever want to talk, just ask to talk to somebody, okay? I promise we're not the monsters that we're made out to be. We'll sit and talk with you. We may give you a hard time. We may tease you, but we do that to everybody. It's just part of the fun." The other side responded with, "That's right. They're monsters. They'll hurt you. They'll do this. They'll say that. They'll misgender you." And I'm like, talk about, I wish I should have screenshotted the whole thing, because it was like, wow, 2 sides to the same discussion. Amazing.
Well, one thing you always hear, or at least that I say, is that, the internet isn't real life. A lot of these arguments that we see on a daily basis, you don't see that when you walk into a hobby store. Like, you very rarely, and I brought this up last stream for Angry and for Nurgle's Butt Pug, is that
I love that thing.
As a joke, we went into the local store that we always go to, me and my wife was just like, "Hey, who do I ask about the female Space Marines?" And I was just like, no. But she knew, again, because I talked to her about stupid shit like that, is that, nobody talks about it outside of the internet.
Right.
Same thing with like the Pride Marines and all that stuff. Nobody's going to give a shit if you drop a bunch of pastel colored minis on the table and want to play a game.
Nope.
Yeah.
Now, if it turns out that you're an insufferable asshole the entire time that you're playing, then yeah, obviously that's going to get around.
So you saying your wife did a Blazing Saddles, where are the white women?
Yeah.
That's all I can picture.
That's a great IRL shit posting.
Oh man, but yeah, and it's like, and like I said, I mean, it's like when they scream, you're gatekeeping. I can't keep you from playing anything. I mean, back in the old days when it was the only game store in 30 miles and you had to beg mom to drop you off at the store, yeah, you could be gate kept. Go sit outside, kid. Wait for your mommy to come back, because you did something stupid. But now, no.
Well, and there's one other thing here that it gets, and I think it gets lost completely. And I'm, I don't know how, I can't speak obviously for any of you gentlemen, but the fact that we even have anyone to play with or commiserate with or talk with in this hobby should be looked at as a boon. I mean, there are not, there's probably more, I have no stats to back this up, but I would believe that there are more people involved in the hobby in whatever aspect it is than actually play in stores because of the lack of places to play. I think, if you've got a great, big gaming group or whatever, you should count yourself severely lucky.
Yeah, that's kind of.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's kind of a point I was going to bring up, along with a bit of a disclaimer. I'm more into the lore end, but the reason for that is geography is doing far more than anything else in quote unquote gatekeeping me from playing the tabletop.
Same.
Yep. So yeah, I'm literally like 3 hours from the nearest urban center that even has a chance of having an LGS.
Well, and you got another issue or another thing with that. Just what you said. And maybe you didn't mean it this way, but this is the way it came out to me. You felt that you had to quantify your involvement or whatever you rated as far as your involvement in the hobby, because the only thing you have available to you really is the lore. You don't have to do that. Nobody should have to do that. And I'm not saying you were, but that's just, there are so many that do, and that's where we run into this problem. Oh, well, show me your minis, bro.
Oh, no, I was just saying, if somebody, somebody comes and, asks me a question about gameplay, I don't fucking know.
Yeah. And you're just as much a hobbyist as everybody else. In my opinion.
Yeah, that's just kind of what I am with a ton of franchises, though. I'm really a lore guy with a ton of it, so it's kind of where my mind goes.
Well, I realized that to avoid any problems, we'll just call it Nurgle's Kiss a few years ago. What it did to the hobby sphere, driving much of it online, good, bad, or otherwise. But I'm not always sure that was the best thing for any hobby. I know I yank it back to D&D, but Critical Role.
Oh, good Lord.
Exactly. Great that it was bringing people in that maybe wouldn't have been exposed to it, but okay. Well, you don't sound like Matt Mercer. Well, you don't look like Lauren Bailey. So aren't we both disappointed today?
Yeah, unfortunately, and I'm going to make a strange analogy. Unfortunately, the boom is not for the best, I think.
No.
In every aspect, because during university and later and during high school, I road bike. Since it's Eastern Europe, the distances are not so big, and I lived in a fairly big city, and it was easy to get around. And there was a biker boom in the city. It was a 2 million people city, so it's rather big, and we did every spring and every autumn a big ride through the town, and
I know.
By the end there was such a big boom that when I was riding in the town, I was on the opinion that some of the bikers I've met, I'm going to kick the next one into the bushes because they are assholes. They don't know how to ride, they don't know the rules of the road, and they just act like they own everything. And when a hobby gets a big boom, it always attracts too much people and not the right kind of people. And in some aspect, I think with the boom of social media plus the unspecified virus of unknown origin, we are still in the phase of, weeding out the interested parties from the bandwagoners.
So I have to
Okay, what?
I have to bring
Alright,
this
go
up real quick. So Horse Gang Studios asks thoughts on black people. I fucking love black people. I don't care what anybody says.
Oh yeah,
Like
I
I just
haven't-
said,
no problem
I-
at all.
nope.
I haven't met any, but don't bring up gypsies, please.
But aren't you Polish?
Well, yeah. I mean, thoughts on them. I don't know. They're good people, bad people, great people, shitty people. They're,
Let me look
they're
at it.
humans.
Let me say this. Look at it this way. Like, and you remember this, see that from. Now I wasn't in the Army. I was in the Marine Corps. But you know, there's
Talk
no.
slow, everyone.
Yeah, right. There's you know, there is no color. You know, it was
Oh.
shades of green. It was shades of green.
Green.
You know what I'm saying? And that's where my comment
Yeah.
comes from in there.
Yeah,
If you're-
you're just another shade of green.
Yep. Everybody's just like everybody else. You're all fighting next to one another, and you're all there to preserve one another's lives. And you know, anybody that, I mean, my gosh, now my family's mixed here, and I can tell you right now, if I thought I don't care what side of the realm you're on, if I saw you being racist, dude, I'd probably. Well, I can't say it on here. I want to get Wheezy demonetized.
Yeah.
But,
thank you for
Would
that.
have beat that last week or last time's demonetization race, right?
right. Exactly. No, I mean, I will say this though, that in hobbies like this, my experience is there is some, you know, social, and I'm sorry if my little ones are blowing over me. There's some social weirdness out there, and it's been this way for just about anything, to where this is for these kind of people and this is for those kind of people. And I think that ultimately falls on the person themselves and whether or not they allow that to happen to themselves, either by not participating, allowing someone to convince them that that's the way it is when it really isn't. You know, like just like that whole thing in Spain, you know, with the guy that came in the Nazi garb. Again, I will not say what I would have done to that individual, but it's, you know, ultimately it's on you. If you're a racist, well, I mean, you're scum of the earth. You don't belong here. But you know, if you have a problem with, you know, any particular type of person as far as race is concerned, you're scum of the earth. You don't have a basis for any of that. Hell, as I think Dan and I were talking about this. Would you see that even in medieval times, it wasn't that way. You know, I mean, it wasn't about that. It was about religion, which still isn't necessarily the right thing. But no, I mean, sorry, I get like worked up when it comes to race stuff because I've dealt with that recently here in the past with my family. And
No, that's completely justified because it's ultimately where do you fall in the gene lotto and
Yeah.
nothing else.
Well, it's
And
easy to
your
get
family
worked
too,
up.
so.
Yeah, and it's easy to get worked up about it, especially when you got people calling you all sorts of names: Nazi, bigot, racist. You know, every other
Yeah.
day if you disagree with them, and you're just like, you don't even fucking know me.
well,
Like,
or being called
Right.
foreigner in my own country by my own countrymen in a public forum. Like, yeah, you know,
Yeah.
because I didn't live here, you know, as long as they did or whatever, not kind of nonsense. I mean, people in general are just retards. And I know that's probably a bad buzzword, but I mean it in the sense of what it means, like an engine. You're broken.
And one of the things I've noticed, kind of going back to a previous point, was we, at least I don't think, we don't want necessarily the people on the other side of this debate to leave the hobby.
No.
We want
No.
them to learn
Absolutely
the
not.
hobby and appreciate, love, and admire the hobby. But how many times have we all seen, we want to drive you out of this?
All the
We
time.
want you gone.
Oh God.
Yep.
We want
Yeah.
you out of here. And I'm like, who do you think pays for this shit?
Yep.
I mean, there was one that was coming after me about tabletop war. I said, who do you think has supported this hobby for now on 45 freaking years? You know, well, I play. I said, yeah, but I think Wizards is going to realize the worst thing they could have done was when they allowed one person to buy the book and share it with 10 of them.
Mhm.
And I said, that's going to come back to bite them in the ass. And I said, if I'm gone, who's going to share that book with you? Because I do that with all of my online campaigns. I share with my players. I said, all you got to do is bring your brain. You know, everything else is taken care of for you. But if I'm gone, that's 10 people that are going to have to buy the books. Now, are they going to spend hundreds of dollars on books? Or are they going to say, piss on it, I'm out of here? I don't want people to leave the hobby. I just want them to learn to enjoy it the way it is instead of trying to change it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I mean, to me, that's common politeness, because I mean, I sit there, I'll check something out if it seems like it's going to be a cultural touchstone or something, which is how I got into Warhammer. And, but if it's not for me, I leave. I don't try to change it.
And not just that, it's well, since it's a hobby, it's, I think in some aspect it's a communal space, like a library. And I'm not going into a library and trashing books I don't like, and demand that they get books that I like just for the heck of it. It's a shared space with a community, and everybody has to respect that communal aspect of it.
Mhm.
Yep. And going along with that, I think because we're also interconnected, and this is going side topic here, is how the people that claim to want other people out, which we all know what portion I'm talking about there, will also bring in accounts. And I know most of y'all saw that whole thing with Joy Toy yesterday, which was that was fantastic. I had to make a video about that because I was like, wait a minute, that is not what I was expecting to see happen from a major company on the internet at this point.
What needs to happen?
Yeah. I mean, and just to kind of recap it, is you had some guy that boycott Rogue Trader account try to shame somebody by bringing in the official Joy Toy account and going, hey, you follow this guy. Why are you doing that? He's a bad person. And Joy Toy just flat out said, I follow people because they like Warhammer. I don't give a shit what they say or do.
That was the infamous Warhammers for Everyone announcement done right.
Yes.
Yes.
100%. Joy Toy stayed out of it. They said, I like Warhammer. I like people that like Warhammer. You can fight amongst yourselves. Now, the account did go a little hard because, some accounts were trying to shame them for doing that. And the responses were just like, I don't care. You can seethe all you want.
see, that's it. It's not, I mean, not to disagree with you, like, you're wrong. That's our problem. It didn't go hard. It said what needed to be said. And no one does that. You know what I'm saying?
No, I agree with that. I'm talking about the parts where he was like, Joy Toy said something along the lines of "Enjoy your internet party, jackass," and it was a meme of
I must have missed that.
It was a meme of a GIF of a guy with a donkey. Yeah.
I missed that part. Cool.
Well, that's legit. That's hard. I'm down.
Well, that's kind of why I did what I did today. For the, I don't know, one person listening in the audience, I actually checked the first time I had actually looked at their account outside of that debate, and there was a particular number of followers. And for those up on internet culture, it was a 1, a 4, an 8, and an 8.
Oh no!
And we've all been called those wonderful names. So I screenshot it.
I saw that.
Yeah,
I saw that this morning at work.
And I posted it. I screenshot it and I posted it as a shit post, just to jab them. And the owner of the account came at me on some shitty burner account going, "You can't do that, man. You can't do that." I'm like, "What are you going to do about it, bitch?"
Matron, we
It's the internet.
Matron, you found the problem. Matron, it's CDAT. There's the problem.
Yeah, it was a.
So then they sent a bunch of people after me. Well, you have an 88 in your name. What is it? And I won't give my usual Twitter reply when they ask me that. It has to do with when I met their mother. But I'm like, dude, you're sending your little hangers on after me. You're coming at me with a little burner account. You're pathetic. And he's like, well, you don't understand what I could do about this. I said, bro, I've been shot at. Bring your best.
Right.
You know, I had 125 millimeter rounds bounce off my tank, man. There is nothing you can throw at me now.
Meanwhile, your compadres were trying to kill me with those rounds.
Hey, I can't help it. There was one crappy gunner.
Yep.
It's probably he was a Marine anyway, so
Maybe.
But-
I don't remember.
but
But you know, angry.
yeah, I mean, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say those kind of accounts are happy to throw people under the bus, drag politics into it, but the minute you poke them back, man, they lose it.
Yep.
They come unglued.
Well, I was going to say that Angry said it best, and that's what Joy Toy did is what companies need to do moving forward. Because obviously you're not going to make everybody happy. That's impossible to appease everybody on the fucking internet with a statement. But if you make it so ambiguous to where you can't really argue with it without looking like an asshole, then you're doing something right. Which I was trying to find people that had that really didn't like that statement, which there was only a handful. And it's just the usual stuff of, oh, well, they didn't say enough. Or, you know, how come they don't care what this random person says on the internet? Just shit like that. And being what I'm assuming, given the price of their figures, I'm assuming they're a multi-million-dollar company at this point. They stayed out of it. You know, they went after the people that were talking trash to them, and they stayed out of it, which is what, in theory, well, not in theory, it's what Games Workshop should have done back in the day at the height of, you know, whatever, 2021 or whenever it was.
It's for everyone.
Well-
It's for everyone.
Well, if I can caveat with that, and you know, with the comments I made, and I'm curious what everybody else thinks about this. I made this comment to see that a little earlier. This for the other side, and I think I'm qualified to say this just from my experience in doing this with these idiots, is it's not even about anything. Well, it's nothing more than making sure that everybody complies with what they want. Everyone. And if they're able to make companies do it, that forces us, by virtue of, you know, we want their products, etc., to have to go along with it. Even if we don't really go along with it in our head, we have to see it. It's in our face. We shut up, and this is literally a bullying tactic. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's sports, if it's Warhammer, it's whatever. It's the same thing every time. And the problem with these companies is, in my opinion, is they think somebody convinced them that this minority, and I mean super minority, is going to buy their product and keep them afloat, you know, so they need to, you know, to kowtow to them. And that's not the case. Hell, half of them are broke working at McDonald's.
Well, it's literally the Thing meme. You know the one I'm talking about, where the guy holds up and goes, "I have created a thing," and everybody's going, "Yay, yay, Thing!" And the one person says, "I don't like the Thing. You need to change the Thing."
Yeah.
"Oh, I'll change the Thing." And the crowd goes, screw it. That isn't what I wanted. So he turns to the one person. "Yeah, I never really wanted that in the first place. I was just making an ass of myself."
Yeah, exactly.
That's it right there.
And, you know, going back to the whole who supports the hobby in this, is that most of the people that I would say prop up the hobby as a whole are probably people that have jobs that aren't terminally online, that just like Warhammer for what it is, and aren't, as I brought up earlier, screeching about activism every second of the day.
Yeah.
And how, and that's always been my biggest problem with social media, is the way people bring activism into literally everything, especially where it doesn't need to be. I get wanting to bring new people into the hobby, which is one of their arguments, but you're not going to do that by scaring away everybody else because you're using tactics that might be looked at as slightly fascistic. But that's just my opinion.
No, agree. Agreed.
Yeah, I've been blocked by so many people on Twitter just in the last year. By they're sitting there bringing up accessibility to the hobby, this, that, and the other thing. And even early on when I was getting into Warhammer, I knew about the prices of minis, and I was like, the biggest thing Games Workshop can do is lower the price of the minis.
Yep.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
And I got blocked for so many people for that.
Yeah, but if they'd have got in when I did, when a box of 10 Space Marines was $20 and now it's 60, 65, I think they'd be singing a different tune.
Back in my day, we had to whittle the Space Marines, and we were lucky.
We had to go out and get tree sap and make our own glue.
One of the reasons why for tabletop I'm more into BattleTech, but
that's one of the reasons I'm chasing lore in Warhammer. I went, you got it, but Badger keeps living by his name and badgering me. You want to paint? Come on, man. You want to paint? I don't want to paint. You want to paint, bitch? Paint.
Look at these orcs over here. See these orcs?
He's literally touring his entire downstairs game dungeon that he has. Go ahead, hey, check out these, man. Look at this. Oh, look at this Titan. Oh man, you got to see these Eldar. I'm like, oh fuck.
Meanwhile, most of it's gray.
Yeah, he's like, are those Grey Knights? No, those are Ultramarines. Shut up. Are those Grey Knights?
No, there are no Ultramarines in my dungeon. No way.
I'm one of those people that's guilty of assembling and priming and then refusing to paint for the next year.
Well, I did make the comment, well, he says the next year, man, I'm going to not comment on that. But, yeah, I mean, the great thing is I said to see that if you prime and, and leave it be, it can be whatever color in your mind you want it to be. And you know what? You could go to the game store and claim you're colorblind. What are they going to do? Well, you need 3 shades of gray. They are. Look at the light.
Look, you got light gray, lighter gray, and really light gray.
Are you
gray, you bigot?
Yeah, are you being an ableist right now? You're against handicapped people like myself that can't see color? I see how it is. Oh, orcs
now
are
you
green?
see,
Not in my world. They're black.
That's the inclusivity that we need.
Yeah.
Oh, the orcs are black. Okay, that's a whole nother trigger discussion.
Oh God,
I forgot about that.
No.
Yeah, can't have that, man. Can't have that.
Yeah, I forgot about that whole nonsense.
Now you're gonna get Azrael in here, and he talk about. Yeah, by the way, there in the chat, if you're Az is still there. Talk about the ultimate shit stirrer. That boy.
He says Grey Knights stay winning.
I will say this: seeing him trigger terminally online leftist for like a week straight is probably one of the better things
to look at Twitter in the morning. Yeah.
I mean, the guy is the highest contributing OnlyFans guy to that girl. So I mean,
that was so. That was beautiful work when you did that. By the way, he literally, I don't know who it was, but literally called one of the terminally online and found the picture of him basically being the top contributor to an OnlyFans girl.
She ain't even that hot, man.
Freaking, she really wasn't, man. You're gonna waste your money, man. At least
I mean, I guess you can call me an ableist. She was a little light in the front. You know what I mean? Anyway,
but that's
okay. We know your preference.
Piggybacking off of that is that one of the problems that you see, especially with social media, is people getting involved in the arguments that have no idea what the fuck they're talking about in the first place. Yeah. They just see, this person's on my side, therefore I need to hop into the argument and just 100%. Make it worse, 100 times worse. It's like, you have no idea. Like, why are you here? Oh, because I like this person and I like their politics. Oh, okay. What does that have to do with Warhammer 40K?
I mean, it's literally, Samuel, I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
Dude, see that? Who's the guy? He's got a Necron avatar. I can't remember his name. But this guy is probably the most, in my opinion, is the most genuine guy ever. I mean, or a girl, it could be. If they disagree with something, they will say it regardless of the political spectrum. You know what I mean? And then,
Oh,
but
I
they
know
always,
you're talking
but
about.
they
I can't
always
remember,
quantify it. And man, are they are on point, on point.
and people on both sides hate them.
Probably, I don't know.
I think I know you're talking about. I think I've seen their posts a couple of times.
Yeah, well, he does a lot with Necron stuff. Like whenever you post a meme, he'll Necron your meme in Rage of 3. But I mean, I mean, if you're wrong, you're wrong. But I mean, he doesn't just oh you're wrong and not show proof. Like today. Luckily, I don't think anybody's tried to refute my Andy Chambers screenshot, but who knows? I mean, I'm sure somebody will.
They're doing the satire and the Margaret Thatcher claim.
Yeah.
Again.
Which that wasn't even Gazcool that they were talking about, right? That whole Margaret Thatcher thing. Wasn't that like Magrat?
Yes.
Something?
Yeah, it's one of the early ones.
Yeah, and Margaret Andy Chambers even says that Margaret Thatcher had nothing to do with it. When they talked about stuff like that, on their own, is just because they hated, the politics at the time in their country. It had nothing to do. Gazgul was not going to be her. I mean, it had nothing to do with that. I mean, it's all right there in the tweet that he made. I don't remember when it was though.
Going back to them inserting things into where they don't need to be. My favorite meme that I've ever seen, and this I pray, please don't.
I'm sorry.
Please don't demonetize me for this, YouTube. I have to say it because it's a thing. Was the picture of the Tyranid? I don't know my Tyranids. The floaty one that looks like a big giant
Zoanthrope.
That sounds right. It was
Sure.
that one with a picture of one of those, and it just said Shalom on it. And that was back whenever they were trying to say that, oh, well, obviously the Tyranids are a dog whistle for Jewish people. I was just like, what?
Oh,
What?
yeah.
And then that was the first meme that I saw come out of it. I was like, I'm saving this for posterity.
Wow.
I've run into that one, and I'm just like, look, what? Excuse me?
Yeah, I was.
See, as I always like to tell them, they always go, well, it's a dog whistle. Well, here's dog whistles, right?
Yeah.
Dogs.
Yeah.
I'm not hearing that. You are.
Yeah,
Right.
that was one of the things that actually stun-locked me coming from the progressive side of Warhammer, of them comparing Tyranids to Jewish people. I was like, I don't understand where this is even coming from, or how this.
Well, if they can do orcs or black people, I don't see why that they should slow down with anything else.
True.
The whole try not to be racist challenge from that side that
Failed.
gets failed almost every other day.
Yeah, let's say just about every time. So you don't see it? No, I see
Yeah.
orcs.
Yeah. Bringing up the satire of like fascism or Nazis or whatever. There's none of that in Warhammer. And one thing that I bring up whenever it comes up, does it very often for me, in a tabletop game, a bit basic but actually pretty well done satire of fascism and Nazism is the Coalition from Rifts.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
So,
well, we've got a good.
These are the same people these are the same people that look at the Death Corps,
Right.
and can't understand the difference.
Well, and considering most of their armor is French, but whatever. I mean, now we're trying to be
It's kind of hard when
actually
people
accurate.
and it's kind of hard to tell people when they get most of their information off the internet. And I'm one of those people that I stand by this. I'm going to keep saying it, that TTS was one of the worst things to happen to Warhammer, but that's just me.
Geez. They take that as lore, like
Yes.
straight out of
And
GW.
I was trying to educate people in my comment section whenever I brought this up in one of my other videos, and they were like, well, isn't most of the aesthetic from Warhammer 40k, doesn't that have to do with Nazi Germany? And I was like, hold on. No. As you said, Death Corps Krieg, primarily World War I French elements. You know, there's
Mhm.
there's this mix and match of historical aesthetic that they just threw together, but obviously they want to focus on one tiny portion of it.
Well, I mean,
Well,
if you go that route, look at the tanks. I mean, before put Krieg aside and just look at Imperial Guard tanks. Okay, I mean, whose tanks represented that the most? The Germans, right? Okay, so we're gonna hate all the IG? No, or I'm sorry, Astra Militarum.
Yeah.
Sorry, old school.
No, one of my personal favorites was somebody put up a picture of a commissar and started going on about the high peaked cap. I said, German modern army, high peaked cap. American modern army, high peaked cap.
Russian.
British
Russians.
modern army, Russian. I said, half the world, India uses that hat. I said, it's a high peaked officer's or dress cap.
Well, it goes back to that. I mean, I totally disagreed with his video, but I still watch him every once in a while. Midwinter Minis. He should have never done that stupid video about whether or not basically he was a good guy or bad guy with, you know, playing the Nazis or whatever. Dude, you're not sitting there salivating over the fact that you could have been, and I mean this, you know, as respectfully as I can, you know, killing Jews or whatever during World War II. That's not what you're doing. You're reenacting battles, you know, with the elements that existed at the time or factions, and you're reliving history however it goes. It's a curiosity that it will never be stopped. I mean, in anything that you do.
Well, it's like here in the United States, for anybody listening outside, the attack on the American Civil War and even the recreation. I'm like, well, it's going to be kind of hard when you only got one side.
Right.
All right, man, we're going to attack that objective. Walk across field. Okay, we won. Let's all go home now. That's going to be the worst reenactment ever.
Well, you know, again, this is all stuff that is perpetuated, at least in my mind, by social media and people saying, I don't like this thing, you shouldn't like this thing. And then a bunch of other people go, well, I don't like that thing either. So we're all going to not like it. You know?
And most of them don't know what that thing is.
Yeah.
And if you do or even remotely stick up for it, let's all cancel you.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm so sick of seeing people use that as and I like using this word, as a cudgel, you know, to where it's like, oh, this person has wrongthink or whatever, you know, or this person said something mean, or this person believes this politically, whatever, what have you. I don't give a shit. You know, walking into the hobby or talking about the hobby, even using this as an example, I don't know what any of y'all's politics are. I don't need to know. It's not really relevant to what we're talking about, because at the end of the day, what we're talking about is the hobby, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was the same thing. I think, who did we have last time? Man versus Miniatures. Like I think he even said himself that he's more of a progressive when it comes to certain things. And he's just like,
I'm a progressive centrist, I think he said, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And who cares, right? That doesn't make him this terrible person because he doesn't align with whatever my politics are, which is what you always see from these people, especially when it comes to the hobby. Oh, we don't want you in it. We don't want you to be allowed in it. We want to kick you out of it. Okay, but, you know, you don't see that from the people that you're disagreeing with. You know, I don't think I've ever told anybody I don't want them in the hobby, despite what I've seen them say or how they act.
I've literally told people that when they're like, well, they need to change this. Okay, maybe this hobby isn't for you.
Oh my gosh, you're touching on what I was just about to say. The whole Warhammer for everyone thing. It's not. It's for anyone.
Anyone, yeah.
It's for anyone, not everyone. Just like, you know, ice skating isn't for everyone. Yeah, anyone can do it, but you may suck at it. You know, and you may give up. You may break your ankle. I don't know.
Yeah, you've been watching me play Battle Sector again, haven't you, you bastard?
Yeah.
I think
I'd say that. I'd say that about any hobby, space, or fandom.
Yeah.
It's for anyone, but not everyone.
Yep.
But that's true, because I don't think there's anything in existence that's going to be for everyone.
Nope.
Air, maybe that we could say that air is for everyone.
don't forget that Hitler breathed the air and drank water, and he was a vegetarian.
Oh my God! Everybody's
these are all
Yep, we're screwed.
Yeah.
Well, then that makes us all Nazis in the eyes of the
All
people.
right, hold your breath. 1, 2, 3.
But going to, I know we talked about this earlier. That whole guy in Nazi Regalia at, what was it, a Spanish tournament? I can't find
Yeah.
I can't find anything online about that except from the people that had a problem with it. I haven't found pictures. I haven't found.
I literally think it was a
one
giant
picture.
troll.
I think that's.
It was a genius troll because in Spain they did not close the past on their Francoist 30s, 40s, 50s, and so on. And what he did was he get the nationalist side logo from the Spanish Civil War in the 30s, which was helped by the Germans, on his T-shirt, and he went to the tournament. And,
So it wasn't even a full-on swastika or anything.
No. It was local.
Okay.
It was local. And
It was a Spanish Franco, wasn't it?
yes, a Francoist logo, and his opponents did not want to play with him, and
He won by default several matches. I believe.
yes, all of them he won by default, and the TO did not have, and the TOs did not have the balls to say that okay, you are disqualified, because he was threatening them with police and litigation, because in Spain there are no hate speak laws, and and this specific logo was not on a prohibited list or something like that. So it was, I think, a genius draw move, but it was a draw move, and the correct response should have been that the TO showing him the door that okay, you can do that, but there's the door, please go that way, and your opponent is going to be awarded as a tie or something like that.
I was going to say respect the hustle until he started threatening.
Yes.
Yeah, he should have just sat there smiling.
Yeah.
Just like, I'm trolling you and you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, but
Wow.
it was an asshole move, but he was enabled by the other party. So,
But remember, none of us have ever did any asshole things, especially online.
Nobody has.
yes,
Nobody.
and in this regard, I have not a hypothesis, but how we behave online, I like to liken it how the Japanese think that we have multiple faces, one for our family, one for our work, and we have one for ourselves.
Man, I failed at that one.
He's an asshole everywhere.
That's remarkable consistency. That's a good thing.
Okay. I'll remind myself of that. I'll tell my wife.
Okay, there it is. Sorry, I was going back to what we were just talking about. I saw a comment of somebody that actually said what Metronoid did, and it didn't make any sense to me until just now. Is that he said that he dressed up as a normal fellow with a Spanish fascist organization, to which some uneducated Americans who spend too much time online threw it all out of proportions. And I was sitting there reading that comment, trying to figure it out. Like, I can't find anything that says that. What does this even mean? And now it all makes sense.
Yep.
Because all you see is that, he was, swastikas, and they make it sound like the dude was dressed in full SS garb or something.
Yes, that's what I read.
And
that's how they make it sound, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, that's just a shitty game of telephones, because everybody heard from somebody else, and by the end it was all blown out of proportion that he was a big time Nazi, and nobody did anything, but it was a troll, and he won.
That makes perfect sense now.
I personally heard he had Hermann Goring's Marshall swagger stick. I have that on good source from the internet. Yes.
Yeah, and again, that's what it all boils down to, is that, the internet takes something and then runs with it. Of course, everybody's going to kind of go along with it, because nobody wants to say, well, I support Nazis, right? They're going to be, oh yeah, this is bad. And then now come to find out, it's like, well, this really has nothing to do with I mean, yeah, fascistic,
Or
sure,
what the worst,
but
what's the worst thing you can say now in an online discussion?
I'm offended.
I'm not sure. Do you have some evidence?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, you want proof? Yeah.
It's not my job to teach
Like
you.
some proof, please.
I mean, if you were gonna say the worst thing you could say, it'd be Trump 2024. That would that'd probably get a couple of heads go doing a 360.
I don't know. I get quite a few when I say cry harder, commie. That tends to work.
Oh, I think. Yeah, he likes throwing the commie out there, and I just sit back and watch. I'm like, okay, here it comes in 3, 2, 1, boom.
Well, I think that's one of the things we talked about last weekend? Was the amount, or rather the correlation between the people that say the things that they do on that side, on the quote unquote wokehamer side, and the pipeline to communist, Marxist, etc. ideology.
Remember, if your argument must start and end with define this. Yeah, oh my gosh, so stupid.
But yeah,
And they're
and
the ones that misuse everything. You're a fascist. What does that mean? Oh, you don't know? No, I'm stupid. And then they post like some 20-page diatribe. No, I'm dumb. I mean, explain this to me like as Badger and I used to tell people to break it down Barney style for me. You know, bring it down to where a purple dinosaur can sing that shit. What is a fascist? They have no idea. Well, it's more complicated. Well, you know, Einstein said if you can't explain something and, you know, quickly, you don't really understand the topic.
Yep.
Whee! And, you know.
yeah,
In fairness, that means that none of us really understand 40K because there's no way you're explaining that shit quickly.
Oh,
Well, there's
no.
this guy named the Emperor.
There's this vegetable on a chair.
On a chair. Yeah, you just put a carrot on a chair and say, this is 40K.
No, potato.
Tape a banana to a wall.
Okay, now, since we're talking about the internet, remember, 30K is a spin-off of 40K and not really important to the lore of that setup.
Oh, God.
oh no,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, and this shit boils my blood because oh fuck me, I remember when it started in 2006 with Horus Rising, and I was a broke university student. No,
Horus
that's-
who?
Yeah, Horus who?
Horus Lupercal.
Lupercal. No, heresy. Sorry, heresy.
Horus
No.
heresy.
And
No,
I was
it's Horace Luperder.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah, that's right, the Lubriderm. Oh,
Jesus Christ.
leave it to them to go that route.
So that back then I was a high school student, and I earlier I read some books. I had my first English was I think Titanicus, but I don't know. And I remember that I had a chance to buy a book and read something that was kind of interesting because it was in the background sections of various Space Marine codices I had, or buy a tactical squad. And then I had a tactical squad. I was painting it, so I jumped in, and then it was I don't know. Then it was that I bought the second book when it came out, but I didn't want to read it because it was written that good that I did not want to see Horus fall. And this is a fucking sideshow, a spin-off. Well, fuck you.
It's like saying the American Civil War was just a sideshow and didn't really have an effect on the United States after that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You mean other than, or you know, World War II, did it really affect the world? Let's discuss.
Well,
Yes, or just World War One, or just shooting an Austrian prince in Sarajevo. What did he do?
The Barbary Pirate
it-
War.
It's like the point I brought up. It's akin to being into current events in the world and not knowing about World War One.
Well, there's a lot of people, so
Well, I mean, if you know anything about Taylor Swift, you're good to go.
who?
Exactly.
No, I being that's one of my other passions is the American Civil War.
Oh, I thought you were about to say
People
you
that are
were a
like-
Swiftie.
God, no, shoot me. If I ever say that, that's how you know I've been kidnapped.
No, dude, he's a brony. He told me all about it.
Oh God!
I was like, oh no.
no!
Gotcha.
Oh, you bastard! Are you gonna pay for that one? Wait till I'm gonna tell your little boy about so many improper toys that he's gonna ask you for.
Oh, boy. I didn't know what a brony was, and he told
I'm
me.
gonna tell you what Eldar and Tau and how they're the best factions.
I'll kill you. Nope, he just got demonetized.
Well, you're gonna cry because in
Uh,
6th or 7th edition, Towdar was a viable, very powerful combo, and oh fuck me, that was nauseating to look
No,
at.
for those that have daughters, or in my case, a granddaughter, if they suddenly decide they're interested in My Little Pony, you gonna learn about that topic. You gonna learn. And I'm telling Badger, I said that this may come down the road someday. And I said, just don't turn into a brony. He's like, what the fuck is a brony? I'm like, oh my God, really?
Oh,
I had
you
no
poor man.
No, I'm glad. Well, now it sucks because now I know what it is. But what I do know, or what would happen, is if for some odd reason my little man, decided to get involved in that, I can bet your ass I will sand off whatever cutie mark, as you called it, off their asses and put a fucking Space Marine decal on that bitch.
So that's literally, we decided, we took it to Twitter because that's always what you do with really moronic subjects, and started doing Space Marine Little Ponies and cracking jokes on there, and it just went out of control for the evening.
I think that was some of the first shit posting I saw on Warhammer Twitter.
Miss My Little Pony.
Yeah, it was My Little Pony with like Space Marine cutie marks and stuff.
Oh my God. Oh, I'm sorry we even brought it up at this point. Now I'm nauseated.
Oh, I find it hilarious.
But yeah, and it's just God, I completely forgot what the hell we were talking about. Thanks, Badger. You just broke my brain, damn it. Oh, you bastard. But I don't know. Like I said, I'm not sure if we could ever kind of get the hobby back to, I mean, like I said, I dipped out, what was it, 2nd or 3rd edition, and it was just, to me, it was beer and pretzels with the guys moving toy soldiers on a battlefield while we got drunk. That was literally Warhammer for me back in the day. And now I've dipped back in and I'm seeing what's going on. I'm like, can we ever, I mean, any hobby, can we ever recover from social media on our hobbies? Or is it going to be a shit show from now on?
I'm going to say no. Let me explain, or let me quantify this or qualify it. Look at, at least for America, look at the firearms, industry, and look at people that are involved in it.
Oh,
These
he's
are all-
demonetized now.
Yeah, these are all people on the same side, we'll say, of the political spectrum for the most part, right? And even they can't freaking agree, on things. I mean, and they'll call each other, every number of names, whatever, because you don't know. I mean, it's ridiculous. So I think it's probably a lot of it's human nature compounded by the politics, and I think that at least the one side has no desire whatsoever to ever sit down, take a breath, and just listen. And I'm basing that off of that little bit of what I saw with Marshall Bowman's thing.
well, here's
with his debate.
yeah. My concern, especially when it comes to social media, is when you have a new person joining, right? And let's say this person aligns or follows certain people, right? I'm just using this as an example. Is let's say this person that wants to learn about the hobby is trans, which as you all know, I don't think any of us have a problem with trans people, correct?
No,
So let's say that
What?
trans people.
I thought he was.
Oh, okay, yeah. I thought you said trades.
Yeah,
I thought you
no.
said tradespeople, and I'm like, what?
People.
But let's say that they want to join the hobby, and the first account that they come across is, let's say, somebody like Shay on Twitter, right? Then that person is going to get most of their information from that portion of the fandom. And then they're going to believe everything that that portion is saying. Just like for the opposite side, you know, let's say somebody starts following Bo, right? And then they're going to see everything that Bo does. So, again, my problem with social media is that these people come in and they see these big accounts, or what I would consider big, and then they just follow along blindly. And that, again, just kind of keeps the army growing for whichever side that they come across.
Well, and then what about the people that, you know, are trans? Like, and I guess I should probably leave her name out of it, but, you know,
Or just
I actually
generalize, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, essentially, you bring this person up, or you're talking to them, or you end up in an argument with them, supporting them, while somebody's telling them they're not whatever. I know that can go both ways, but especially when you know this person is straight, I mean, gone through everything you can imagine. And this was a person that I literally reached out to DM wise and asked, I said, look, you know, I don't know anything about this. Please help me understand. Okay. So I could put any, you know, perceived biases aside, or biases aside, and whatnot. That's not something that's going to happen in most cases. And I'm not trying to, you know, build myself up here, but I was generally curious. I liked what this person had to say. You know, we both agree that all pedophiles should be put in a wood chipper, you know, things like that. And, you know, but here was a person that, you know, on its face, you know, some people would say, well, you shouldn't associate with that person. Well, first of all, you don't tell me who to associate with. Second of all, I want to know this person if I want to know them. And then, you know, this same person has been attacked by this very person you just talked about, you know, as being told that they're not trans. The person's as trans as you can get. You know, I mean, and the person accusing them otherwise is not. I mean, as far as, you know, as the links that this other person has gone through, and it just blows my mind.
And yeah, it's the same thing I see with I think the most well-known online account that I can think of, even across like other platforms, is probably Bitshammer, right? And I've seen, whenever that name comes up, I've seen some just really shitty stuff out of Bitshammer. But because he aligns with the correct politics, you know, obviously the base keeps growing.
Right.
So it goes along with that. Oh, well, my team has to win. This person's on my team. I don't care if they're a shitty person or not. Whereas, you know, most of us are a little bit more objective with, like me, for instance, I would follow Vosh and Tim Pool at the same time, which would probably piss off a bunch of people. But, you know,
I don't like Tim Pool because I think he's weird. But that's it. That's the only reason.
You just want the beanie, man. We know you want the beanie.
Yeah.
Got my own beanie.
No, just Tim is weird. His hairline is weird also. So.
Yeah.
But, well, that's who I had to defend as a fellow soldier, was Bits.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going, son of a... But you know what? I've got
Right
my
thing
own
to
set
do.
of standards. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm not going to leave a brother out in fire.
Yep.
It's like, son of a bitch. You're going to make me defend him.
Yeah,
It'll never be reciprocated because
Oh,
that's
no,
that side. But that's how it
He
is.
wouldn't piss on my head if it was on fire.
Right.
But that's an indictment of him and not of you, because as Wombat said, from what Wombat said, I think it's always up to the individual to, well, get his bearings and get information and dig in if he or she or it is really interested, and pick a side or not pick a side in any argument. And the fact that in social media we have sides and people are willing to adopt a side completely without question, without thinking, is ultimately, I think, a very human failing, and
Tribal.
it's a failure of their upbringing and their education, I think.
And it's tribal.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yes.
say it perpetuates tribalism.
Yes.
Well, and I mean, if you think about the arguments for the older gamers back when there was no internet and it was just a game store and we had to ride dinosaurs to go play a game and shit like that, what were the arguments? Superman could beat Shazam's ass. Bullshit. You don't know what you're talking about. It was dumb shit arguments.
Yes.
I mean,
Or it was arguments about game rules.
yeah. No, encumbrance is stupid. That's not how much a 10-foot pole weighs.
Have you lifted anything other than a spoon? Moving on.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's like I said, it's the trick would be literally, is we're gonna have to break that political binding to hobbies, and I don't think that's possible at this stage.
Well, I mean, you've got plenty of people that are keeping it going at this point. One of the instances that I saw recently was, and I think this is D&D. I don't know who they are. What was it, Goodman Games or something like that?
I think
I
so,
saw that shit yesterday.
Was going to do a panel or have some sort of convention or whatever it was.
The rules.
And
the
it-
rules.
yeah.
Oh.
Jesus.
And people were like, well, that's way too many old white guys on this thing. You know, maybe you should reconsider what you're doing. And of course, they put out a statement saying, all right, we apologize for too many white people. And we're going to do better. And people still didn't like it. So what's the point of even, capitulating to these people if they're not going to be happy anyway?
Oh,
I just
my,
go ahead.
my eyes were open to the way they behave in that regard. With, I don't know how many of you are familiar with this, but with the Will Wheaton incident.
Oh, Will Wheaton's a fucking scumbag.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Yeah, he is.
Well, what I'm specifically referring to is years ago, he made some comment about a spirit animal, and people dragged him for like cultural appropriation and whatnot. And he apologized, said he wouldn't do it again, and it wasn't good enough. And this is somebody from their side that that was held up by them, and they're doing this to him.
Well, they do tend to eat their own a lot more than our side does.
Yeah, sooner or later you will get what's the Churchill quote? Oh God, I brought Churchill up. An appeaser is one who feeds the crocodile hoping to be eaten last.
Yep.
Yes, literally.
Oh, you brought up Churchill, so now I'm definitely demonetized.
The ultimate old white guy.
Talk about rules. Next time Wombat even thinks about bringing you and I on, he's gonna be like, okay, guys, I need you to read this, sign this.
Yeah, there's going to be a waiver.
Just say hi and shut up.
Yeah.
But yeah, you see that a lot, and I know we already talked about this, but going back to the Joy Toy thing, was that they didn't back down. Because every time I've seen these companies cave, it's never been a good thing.
Well, it's never enough, ever.
And not only that, they make the changes, as y'all said, to fix whatever the quote unquote problem is, and they still don't get the numbers or the fan base that they had before they decided to change things.
You would have thought they would have learned these lessons in school, when a bully comes after you for your lunch money and you give it to him and you have to keep giving it. And that's really what it boils down to.
I mean, for lack of a better word, political extortion.
Yeah.
What was Gary Gygax's politics?
I don't know.
Don't care.
That's what I thought. Yeah, exactly. Who fucking cares? No, it's okay. Yeah, for what was David Arneson's? Who fucking cares? That's literally where we're at this stage.
Well, and it's like the argument of, not wanting, girls in the hobby or women in the hobby. Dude, I'm sure I speak correctly here when I say that 99% of the horny males throughout the history of this hobby have wanted a girl in the store.
Most have never seen one, so
Yeah.
I'm
saying.
I
Funny.
can count on one hand how many playing women have I met.
Yeah.
in my city, in the various clubs. And I'm not going to use all of my fingers.
Right.
Yes, I brought this up before.
You mean all of your finger? You mean like one knuckle?
A finger.
One knuckle. One knuckle represents a quarter of a woman.
2.
Well,
I'm going to use 2.
for those that know, and I hope she doesn't mind me giving her a bit of a shout out. For those of you who know that Swanee, she's been kind of making a big splash in the hobby. And she was trying to make a lore point, and somebody was calling her. I said, why don't you just shut up and let her finish her tweet? Hey, bro, I don't think he's going to go out with you. I said, first of all, that's a she, pretty sure. And second of all, I'm not Swanee's type.
Yeah,
None of us are.
wrong equipment.
Yeah, she bats for the other team. So that's totally cool. But it was just, it's like, oh, you fucking weirdos.
Well, I brought it up
Projection.
last time that the first time that my wife went into a game store with me, there was like no women in there. And of course she's like, oh, I need to dress up because we're going out. We're going to, put makeup on.
Do that too.
And I saw like,
Oh God, yeah, no.
Yeah,
there was like 16 pairs of eyeballs that turned towards the door. And I was just like, just keep walking. It's fine. They don't know what you are. It's,
Okay.
as a joke. Because
she
the-
comment on the smell
They're more,
at all.
No,
afraid
surprise.
of you than you are of them.
Surprisingly, everybody had showered that day. But
Whoa, you called ahead.
go, but going along with that the only female that was in the store was a male to female trans person. And my wife was over there looking at, I don't know, Slaneshi demons. And of course,
Of course.
the trans person goes over to my wife and is talking to my wife about, oh, new to the hobby, blah, 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 having a conversation. And I was fucking sick that day. I was super sick. So going into the hobby, I was like, I don't want to fucking talk to anybody. I don't want to look at anybody. I'm going to ignore all of you. I just want my shit and I'm going to leave. And my wife was just like, well, why were you being rude? Was it because of this person or whatever? I was like, no, I don't feel good. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't care what they identify as, what they look like. I don't care if they're fucking purple. I want to go home.
I'm a man. I'm sick. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Let
But-
me die.
But
I got this mental,
we were
this mental image of him crawling through the GW or LGS store,
Yeah.
like dragging himself across. Must get to the minis.
well, I think I was picking up my my End in the Death LE that day, and I was like, I'm gonna go get this shit one way or the other. I don't care if I have COVID or cancer or what. I need it. But yeah, she brought it up. It's like, well, did you have a problem with this person or what? Why were you being rude? Whatever. I was like, I'm not being rude. I just didn't want to talk to anybody. I'm one of those people where I can kind of pick up on.
Ow.
Yeah. I was like, I can pick up on when people want to be left alone. And I was just like,
Yeah.
I was in I want to be left alone mood. I don't give a shit if that person was trans. I don't give a shit if that guy with the luxurious beard at the table wanted to show me his minis. I just wasn't having it. But
Miss America could have been standing there in a bikini. You've been like, get out of my way, bitch.
Yeah,
I need to
yeah.
go get my stuff.
that's exactly how I was feeling. And, people always, going back to what we've already said, the way things are in real life in a hobby store, it doesn't equate to all the bullshit that you see online, ever.
Well, it boils down to the Mike Tyson quote. Everybody got a plan till you get punched in the mouth.
Yeah. And
You know you're not going to pull that shit. And so,
I
know,
am
what-
so sick of that shit, of people threatening other people, like, oh, well, if I saw them in the hobbies, I'd break their fucking minis and stomp on their face. No, you
Oh, yeah.
fucking wouldn't.
I literally
I
had
see
that
the break
interchange.
minis.
I literally had that interchange with somebody who says, well, if I see them, I'll break plastic. And I'm like, you would destroy their stuff? I didn't say that. I'm like, no, don't play the dumb shit here. You're threatening. I said, have you ever been in a fight in your life? Have you ever thrown hands with anybody in your life? Because you come up and start breaking my shit. Number one, I live in a state that will give me full grounds to unload.
Uh-huh.
Okay?
Yeah, these
But-
people have never been kicked in the teeth before.
And it shows.
Well, it always boils down to I very rarely, in fact, I don't think I've ever threatened anybody online, regardless of how shitty I
no.
think their opinion is, because I'm not. First of all, I don't behave that way. Second of all, I know how to interact with people in reality. But you see it all the time across platforms, even on YouTube. People say,
Internet tough guy.
"Yeah, it's
Keyboard commando, yeah.
It's like what." And I think Metronoid said it the last time we talked, was that these people have had no real validation in reality outside of the internet, so they think that they can behave a certain way and talk a certain way when it's the complete opposite.
Have you ever seen that picture of it's a little skinny kid and he's wearing a shirt and the shirt is covered in pictures of Bernie Sanders? And he's sitting here and he's looking up at this guy that's got to be about 6'4" with a full beard and a cowboy hat and a Trump shirt on. And it says literally at that moment, Kyle realized he's no longer on the internet.
I haven't. I need to find that picture. I have not seen that one yet.
I was gonna like daily post it on Twitter, going, before you start that online fight, just remember.
Yeah, the closest I've ever come to physically threatening anybody on the internet is basically reposting that Navy SEAL with 300 confirmed kills.
Oh, the copy pasta, yes.
Yeah,
I love that one.
Clowning on, to clown on somebody who actually is making a threat.
Do you know who I am?
Yeah,
I love that.
Well, the internet is the greatest dojo, they used to say, so...
So how many models have all of you put together since we've been talking?
Oh, shut up. Show
exactly.
off.
I only have
Jack and shit.
You slackers.
You're not a no. Remember, that's the thing. You're not a real member of this hobby.
Show me your minis.
Show me your minis.
That's
I left them on your mom's nightstand. Sorry.
Oh damn.
I hate how that's the average response of somebody that disagrees with you in the hobby is show minis, chud, and it's like I have probably $50,000 worth of books sitting behind me before I ever bought my first mini. That I was terrified of painting because
I literally have screenshots of my Kindle, and I think it's 16 books per page, and I have 10 pages.
Yeah,
of books.
Dude, I'm what they call a shelfie. Like I love books. So when I went into Warhammer, I went full tilt. I was like, I'm buying every single book I can find.
Yes.
It took me it took me a year and a half to put together every single Horus Heresy book. All 54 books in hardcover and like a few of the novellas.
Oh, Jesus. I didn't know there was that many.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's 56 now, I think. And there's still, one or two more to come?
The main line is 56. We have...
56, sorry.
17 for the Primarch series.
The Primarchs, yep.
And the Siege of Terra is... The Siege of Terra is... no, you are correct, other way, because because we have three short story books and one big one where all of them are together. And the Siege of Terra is so far 8, I
think.
4, 8 and 3 novellas.
Yeah. So, but remember, it's just a side story, guys. It's taken me a year and a half on Kindle to put together my collection, and I'm confident I'm about 70% there. Mm-hmm. So, and 30 video games, which I know some people don't consider video games part of it, but they're not slacking in the lore. I mean, many of the games are very lore good.
I've only played a couple of the video games, and from what my still, comparatively to like you guys, limited knowledge of the lore, they're very good in that regard.
Well, the RTS games are the Dawn of War series up until Chaos Rising.
I was going to
is
say
very good.
3, or we're gonna end the conversation right here.
3 is just a reskin. 3 is just a reskin. But I remember that, as I said, I was a broke high school student, university student. So the RTS games, Dawn of War, Inter Assault, the other expansions for that, Dawn of War 2.
Yeah, Chaos
Soulstorm.
Rising was a little weird. I'm not gonna lie.
Yes,
too,
but
yeah.
but we got the IG and the Baneblade, and everything was good. So those games, Soulstorm and then the Dawn of War 2, as somebody who had access to the internet, had access to a CD burner, had access to Demon Tools. That was all I needed.
Hey, hang on. What's the statute of limitations on that? Just be careful.
Well, I got it on my Steam library, so it's okay. Now, I think.
I still say that.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I still say that the best thing about Dawn of War 3 was the trailer.
Yes. The trailer sold me on a game that I did not remember playing.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I just finally got Badger to play Battle Sector.
The only problem with Dawn of War 3 though was the way that they portrayed the Space Marines with their freaking skinny jeans. That was a big no. I mean, don't get me wrong, that freaking trailer was amazing, but it just I don't know. They were way too skinny for me.
But no, I finally got Badger playing Battle Sector, and it's funny to hear him sit there going, "God damn, freaking Tyranid bastard, son of a bitch."
Meanwhile, it's one of my biggest armies.
Exactly. And you're like, kill all of them.
You know,
so
going on to the video games is that I think I own almost every single Warhammer game that has come out on Steam. And let's see, I've got 40 of them, including ones that aren't even there anymore.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought I was doing good with 31. Shit.
Well, I was going to say, you can get all of them if you go to GROG. They've got some of the older ones, too, like the original Chaos Gate, freaking Final Liberation, if you don't mind playing those style of games.
But, you know, it goes back to that whole, Space Marine 2 is supposedly being made by a Russian studio, which I don't even think that's true.
Okay. I did get to a small bottom part of that. It's on their website. It says their main office is in St. Petersburg, Florida.
Oh,
St. Petersburg, Florida. Holy shit.
How dare you put real details out? What's wrong with you?
And the other one that's doing Rogue Trader, yes, their office was. They left Russia to avoid issues. They moved to Cyprus. So.
Well, another company did that too. I don't know if y'all have heard of Artifactoria. Yes. They make jewelry.
Yeah.
Yep.
They were based out of Russia, and then as soon as the war started, they moved to like Turkey or something. I was like, first of all, the stuff that they make is fantastic in terms of quality. I don't give a shit if they're in Russia or no longer in Russia. If it's something good, I'm going to buy it. Same thing with the video games.
And that's why I posted that shit posting from that one particular site. Because again, the coincidence was too delicious not to pop up there. Second of all, dude, what is... And I said, are you taking money for this? Is this like some kind of weird government psyop or what? I mean, you're raging at a video game?
It's hard to tell nowadays.
Yeah. And that's when the guy kept getting mad at me. He's like, well, you better take it down. I said, or what?
Well, look at that Black Templars post. That was definitely glowy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
God.
Yeah.
Speaking of social media, that's a good one. False flag operations.
Yeah, that's happening a lot more, I see.
Explain.
Trying to draw. So they're trying, the other side, the woke side, is trying to use burner accounts in a way, or even just any account rather, and portray that they're on the Chudhammer side, I guess we'll call it that. And they're openly coming out with, like they did with this Black Templar one, of everything from kill the Jews to whatever, to make it look like, we are the Nazis that they claim we are. And it's it's basically just, you know, false flag operation on Twitter.
And I will give our community credit. Nobody believed that shit.
Nope. But they called him out, which was good.
Everybody called it out. I mean, you saw the glowy memes were running thick and fast.
I mean, go ahead.
I'm outing my internet experience a little bit here, but as long as I've been around shit posting on the internet, that shit like that is so obvious to me.
Yeah, and that's literally what this was. It's like, are you kidding?
You could smell the sweat through the screen because that was that. That was somebody trying really hard to fit a description they have about people they don't know.
Yep.
Well, I will say I've met some non-LARPing hardcore right-wing accounts that have tried to do the same thing with Warhammer, and they usually get BTFO'd real quick.
Yeah, I don't know if this was still on, but it was just a little too. It was a touch too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It was too on the nose.
Yeah, way too. I mean, we can't even say on here some of the crap they were getting away with saying on Twitter. And again, I don't know if the account got nuked or what, but I don't see it anymore. So,
Well, I mean, you know, at risk, I call it risk. I don't really care. But, you know, even if people were on our side, yeah, you know how I am. You know, if you're that kind of person that's going to go out there and make a meme like that to do a false flag on our side, dude, we don't need you. We don't need that. Take a hike.
yeah, we don't need your support.
Yeah, that's not support anyway. All you're doing is fanning the flames that literally most of us are trying to put out. I mean, it's freaking stupid. You know, I mean, grow the hell up. I mean, especially you're trying to foment and further a conflict that doesn't need to exist, that is hurting the hobby, in my opinion. I don't think we're gaining anything from this on either side. And yes, it's easy to go, well, look at all the stuff you said. If you read my stuff, which nobody ever does, if you read my stuff, you will see that 99.9% of it was in defense of myself or others, and that is who I am. But I did not openly attack you. I told you when things that you had were factually wrong, your fiction was wrong, your rules were wrong, whatever, and I backed it up with evidence. We're just not living in that world anymore. And those of you on, we'll say our side, if you think you're on our side, that again foment that, you are the problem. We cannot heal a divide and keep this hobby going with people like you.
And I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I do have some personal experience with people who do believe that way.
Yeah,
and
same.
These are some of the most idiotic and toxic individuals you will ever meet.
Yep, I agree. Like I said, I've also interacted with people like that, and I'm just like, this is not good. You know, this is what I would consider the quote unquote Chudhammer version of a lot of the people that I don't like seeing on the opposite side. It's just like, we don't need any of that.
Nope.
Yeah,
You know,
it's like, again, can't we get back to good old school nerd arguments? Actually, Drizzt had 2 weapons, not one. You know, stupid shit. You know,
Gilliman would beat Rogel Dorn.
yeah.
Well, you know, a lot of that stuff, as we've already talked about again, you know, a lot of this it all circles back to stuff we've already said, is you see stuff that happens on the internet, on social media, and then it gets perpetuated by or it gets signal boosted, that's a better word, by outlets like Polygon and Kotaku and Bell of Lost Souls and
Oh God,
all these quote unquote journalists, or as I like to call them,
urinalists.
yeah. They pick it up, and then people read that don't even know anything about the hobby, read this shit, and then they go, oh, well, Warhammer fucking sucks. I'm not going to get into that.
Yep.
And it's similar to like what that one article about how, the Emperor is genderqueer thanks to the End in the Death or something like that, and how this author supports.
Is it really necessary? Yeah.
No, it's not.
No. Well,
And
I mean, there was one. It was something about trying to create a romance between Sanguinius and one of the other Primarchs, and I'm like, okay, yes, Sanguinius is a pretty boy, we know, but that
So is Fulgrim.
I was gonna say Fulgrim might have something to say about that.
But there's, I'm glad that there's some authors that stay out of all this culture war bullshit. I mean, we talked about it last time. There's a couple that are full tilt in it. I think, like Gav Thorpe is one of them for sure. But for the most part, they stay out of it.
Yeah, I like
But
Gav's writing. I don't like, the rest. It's like, dude, come on. You've wrote some good stuff. Stick with it, please.
Yeah. But that article that I brought up, the one about how the Emperor is whatever, they brought up, oh, well, this is why, ADB is one of the most progressive writers for Warhammer 40K. Excuse me, and this, that, and the other. And I was like,
ADB is one of the worst, and he's coasting on his early successes.
Yeah, and it's like, where are you getting this from?
Yeah, I'm still in some of Gav's earlier stuff because I'm actually trying to stick to a chronology, which anybody that reads Warhammer novels knows that I'm at the end of my rope trying to figure that one out. But yeah, I've definitely seen a trending downward on some of their stuff.
Well, one thing I brought up to Counterpoint's 40K is when we had our talk was how people got mad about the fact that people were saying that the Mechanicum is non-binary for using they them pronouns, and people were screeching into the void because of they them, and I was like, it's the fucking Mechanicum. We don't know what the fuck they are. Like, this is one of those. It
would strike me that the Mechanicum is purely binary.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah.
Excellent joke.
Excellent
joke.
But not just that. I think the Mechanicum is perfectly suited to the it preposition because they are neither. Procreation is not on their agenda since they recruit. And
I've realized their pronouns. I just realized it, and it's a slight Star Wars reference. Beep, bop, boop.
Yeah.
Well, and they also steal. I mean, obviously this isn't canon, but there's I'm trying to remember the guy's name, but the guy, I have no affiliation with this guy. I just love his work. There's a story on YouTube. It's an audio story called Abomination. And it is by far the best grimdark 40K story I've ever heard, and I encourage everybody to listen to it. Again, I don't know if it's Vox in the Void or what his name is.
It's Fox in the Void.
Fox in the Void.
Yeah, oh my gosh,
and,
dude.
That you read that and you got a whole. Badger's the one told me about it, and he's like, "You ain't gonna believe that the Mechanicum are the good guys."
No, dude, it's a whole nother
gruesome.
It's the 40K that I got into, at least in my own head, and not this. I don't know.
Robotech girly man.
Brony 40K we got today.
Brony 40. Jesus.
Yes. One of
that
the earliest.
That was the first one I'd ever heard. Like, he just popped up on my YouTube feed, and I was like, "What's this?" And man, I've listened to it like 15 times at least. It's amazing.
I've got a business trip the end of next week that I'm probably going to listen to it again on the way. So
there was another one. I don't know if Vox in the Void did it or if it was Baltimore or one of them, but it was a Night Lord story. And
I don't think I've heard that one.
It was fantastic in making the Night Lords just straight up psychopathic murder killers. Like the voice he attributed to the Night Lord, I was like, that is exactly what a fucking Night Lord would sound like.
Yeah, and that's the stuff that needs to be getting amplified on social media.
Yeah.
You know? Hey, guys, you're going to believe this shit.
Yeah, and I think, especially on YouTube, you see some of the stuff that's been put out by, independent creators where it's like, we need more of this in the hobby of people, narrating their own stories and, and of course, we've already said this, headcanon is fine. Just don't try and push it on other people.
I mean, I am completely biased based on my Darktide character, but I think Gav and Bob are four of the best audio dramas on YouTube. It really captures Ogryn.
Yeah, and side note here, I made an Iron Warriors Leviathan Dreadnought. Somebody was like, well, what's the name of it? Now it's like, oh, that's Warsmith Cast Iron. I was like, I just made that up on the fly. I was like, this fits. I'm going with that.
Fucking nerd.
The question is, was he seasoned before deployment? If you know cast iron, you know what I'm
Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
No. He was scrubbed with Dawn and hot water.
Yeah, and
Oh my God.
and a Brillo pad.
Oh, I only when I do cook, I only cook in cast iron, and I just told my wife, I'm like, just don't even look at it. Just leave the stuff alone.
But yeah, stuff like that. I am happy that it exists. Even the stuff before Games Workshop decided to do their purge of independent animators. We had people putting out fantastic animations of what they interpreted the 40K universe to be.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'll die on the hill that Hell's Reach is probably the best.
Yeah, I agree.
It was. I started watching that, and I was really having a hard time with the animation at the beginning.
Oh, the scratchy black and white.
It was really distracting. So
Yeah.
I just kind of looked away, and then I looked back and I went, "Wait a minute, did it get better?" Then I was hooked in completely because I'd read the book. But okay, it's a good interpretation of it.
I knew all that stuff from anime and manga, but that was all designed to get
Weeb.
better. You know what I mean? Yeah, right. That was all designed to become better. You know what I mean? That's why he started out that way.
Yeah, I didn't have that background, so I was like, man, this looks like ass. It was literally distracting me from the story. So I just was like, okay, I'm not going to look at the screen. I'm going to do something else and just listen. And I'm like, wow, this is great.
I had no idea that Valrak was in that. Did you know? Did you guys know that?
Valrak, yeah.
Yeah, I had no idea he was in there. He was one of the pilots, briefly. His voice.
I did not know that.
Oh.
Yeah, I was listening. It was the last year. I listened to one of his things, and he talked about that. He said it was like his one little piece of fame, and I was like, that's awesome.
And even the stupid fun stuff. One of my personal favorites, Rogel Dorn's Colossal Chain Blade. For those that have heard that read by the guy who voices Rogel Dorn, it's stupid, but it's fun.
You can't have fun in 40K. What are you talking about?
And that's the thing. Is like, this is the things we should be arguing about. Not, please, no politics. Either side, any side.
What the hell is Wheezy doing? Wheezy, what are you doing?
Dude.
That's my co-pilot.
No, I can't see any. Okay, now I see him.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah.
I had a flashback of DSP.
Yeah, I looked for a moment. You were going full send on demonetization.
No.
You're your best friend there, man.
Get at the title.
Dude, you didn't go Chris Chan on us, did you?
No. My mom is far away from here.
That's all.
All right.
But yeah, I don't want to hear any. As I said on a post, I said, "Isn't there enough shit politics in 40K to argue about?"
Well, whether or not it's fascist.
No. Just like the internal politics of the universe. Or why shouldn't we be getting the high lords of Terra strung up on a rope?
Amen. Amen.
Or just
As far as
sorry, go ahead.
Just real quick, as far as that goes, I do like getting into honest debates and discussions about what government system and what economic system the Imperium is in setting. But beyond that,
it never stays in setting though.
Everybody's got to bring real life politics into it.
Yes, but if you want to read a very good about fuck me. So, if you want to read a very good book about it, there is Matthew Ferrer's first Shiraka Purnia book, Crossfire, and it's a word in the Ultima Segmentum, but not within the no. I think Pacificus Mint. I don't know the exact
Hey, go.
sector it's
No,
in.
Max.
Sorry.
No, I'm trying to get my dog down. Sorry.
Okay. And
just telling 40K may have already had its highest point. He'll be down in no time.
and it's a very good story about an arbitrator mixed up in planetary politics with imperial politics about an organization of Sanguinala, I think, and how the various bodies, Adeptus Arbites, the local authorities, the church, the ecclesiarchy, the governor's office, and the others, how they coexist. And if we are going to assign a form of governance to the Imperium, it's a bureaucracy. It's a bureaucracy, and it doesn't care what you do locally so long as you pay the tithes. And that's it.
Yeah.
Right.
It's,
But in the
it's a
in
bit
the
like, I would say a bit like Rome during the Republic, early Empire. I don't give a shit what you do. Just pay your bill.
But in the terms of the argument of it's all fascist, as Dan, for a good friend of ours, Dan has said, it's not fascist. It's what has to happen. It's what's left to keep humanity going. It's what literally what has to happen. Otherwise, we get burnt out and wiped out. It's not a choice that really it's not the emperor's decree, obviously, as it is right now. It's not a choice so much as this is what has to happen. Period.
It's the best mere mortals can do.
Yes.
Well, if you go back, I don't know if some of you guys saw it or not, but if you go back and look at my video about how the statement that GW made about how there's no good guys in the Imperium, and
yeah, that's bullshit.
If you look at the comments, if you look at the comments on that, all kinds of people like, oh, well, the Imperium is this thing that shouldn't be emulated. We're not supposed to like it. Well, yeah, you're not supposed to like it, just like some people don't like the U.S. government, but you still can't say that everybody there is fucking bad.
Right.
You can't make them. You can't. Go ahead.
Oh, I would say the only faction where there's no like good individuals in 40K would be the Tyranids.
And even then,
Dark Eldar.
I was gonna say the Drukhari are probably a pretty close.
My bad.
Yeah, what's wrong with you, Chud?
Yeah.
Right name for him?
Sorry, I just like that better than Dark Eldar.
Yeah, I grew up on that, so Drukhari and Eldari are kind of alien to me. No.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're supposed to like the BDSM murder elves,
Oh, but they, they have their fans. Let's be honest.
Yeah. But it's, and I think that argument or that statement is again perpetuated by the internet. Oh, well, no, you have to not like the Imperium. You're not supposed to like the Imperium. Well, I don't like certain aspects of it, but
yeah. But it sucks, but it's the only thing we got.
Yeah, exactly.
The alternative is destruction.
Yeah, they don't have a choice. But it's, again, same arguments all the time of people just repeating stuff that they've heard or that they've seen and then not really having a leg to stand on whenever they get into an argument about it.
Yep.
Yeah, and you also look at the history of the Imperium, and of mankind. A large part of why the xenophobia exists is just straight up being backstabbed by alien races.
Oh, here we go. All right, this is from 12 hours ago. It's always socially detached right-wingers making a scene and ruining it for everyone. Also, this reading of the statement is so wildly disingenuous. I literally read it word for word from what the Warcom team put out. Word for word.
Yeah.
Well, look at their statement about, socially, I'm sorry, how did it go again?
Socially detached right-wingers.
Yeah, socially detached, okay? Well, forget the right-winger for a minute. Socially detached. That's like the most it's the dumbest statement ever. Socially detached from whom? Not society. From your little,
From your
talking
echo
cookie group.
chamber. Yeah.
Yeah, your little echo chamber. That's it. I mean, and that's all you have is that talking point every freaking time, because you can't just say from the people that don't know. You got to throw out the insult to get the clicks, to get the views, whatever. There's no working with these idiots.
That has the same rhetorical weight as the media literacy argument.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Well, here's why I argue with that whole, this is disingenuous. The first two lines in that statement are, there are no goodies in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. None. Especially not in the Imperium of Man. How the fuck can you misinterpret that?
Right.
There's no way. That is a very concise statement about how that writer feels about the Imperium.
And
Right.
that's just it. Yeah. It's so you're telling me that Imperial Guard regiment trying to hold off that last Tyranid wave, they're not good? They're bad people because they should just let the bugs eat them?
Well,
Yeah.
on top of that, go to your Warhammer Plus videos. Why are we showing any sentiment or emotion whatsoever, as we as normal humans would know it to be, as kind or whatever, at all? If there's no good, it's
Or not
Or
just that,
entire Space Marine chapters just pass them by.
Yep.
or just look at the poster. One of the many poster child of the 40k book line. Then Abnet's ghosts. Are they fascistic? Are they bad people? Or they are just people, a guard regiment, fighting against chaos?
The Iron Snakes. Read. I'm telling you, read Brotherhood of the Snake. I mean,
Or the Lamenters.
those poor bastards.
They always get the short end of the stick.
Well, it's real easy for people to take statements like that and run with it. Why? Because they said it. And then to try and spin it a different way and be like, "Oh, you're not reading this correctly." Okay, then what's the right way to read that? Because everybody else is going to use that statement to bash you over the head with and go, no, you like the Imperium, you're a bad guy. And they do it. They do it a lot.
Oh yeah.
The right way is the way that they feel that you're an ally. That's it.
Yeah.
Remember, none of us could possibly be married. None of us could possibly have family or children.
That's true.
We're all basement dwelling weirdos that never interact with anybody, even though most of us have a job that probably literally requires us to interact face to face with other human beings. And we're being instructed that by people that are terrified to pick up the phone.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why
I don't have a basement.
What I'm curious about is the whole, this probably might seem a little off topic, but the Chud Hammer thing, okay? Obviously I know what Chud stands for because when I was a young boy, I was watching the movie Chud, religiously because it was badass. But where did these, I hate to, no offense to anybody on this podcast or anybody that's younger than I am, where the hell did you guys even come up with that? That's a cult classic, not something you would think a younger person would even know about.
I don't think they even know.
Where did it come?
One of the older grognards called them chuds, and they thought, we got him now.
Yeah, I don't know where this comes from or how it's even relevant.
It's like what we were talking, Badger, about. You'll see people all the time that Team America World Police. Yep. And they'll say, you're too stupid to realize it's making fun of you. We know. We understand what it's making fun of.
We're just not crying in the street and screaming at the sky over it.
And Badger and I both agree that we have both seen that movie 1,000 times because the troops love it. Yep. They get it. They get the joke. They're part of the joke,
And every palm tree in there is an actual marijuana plant, if you didn't know.
Yeah, I just learned that myself. But yeah, it's like, we're going to call you Chuds. And I said, I think the thing that infuriates them the most is we've embraced the title. We've literally embraced the title and say, yeah, that's fine. Sure, we'll go by that.
Well, it's the same way that people use gatekeeper as an insult. When every instance, almost, I'm not going to say almost every instance I've seen of gatekeeper being used is people that want to preserve the hobby and not discourage people from joining. It has nothing to do with discouraging people from joining. It has to do with discouraging people that want to change everything from joining.
Yeah, especially people that want to change it that frankly don't even play.
Yeah.
This is literally Badger and I had this talk earlier today about why. And he said it's just control.
It
It's
is.
just control.
Yeah.
It has to be.
Oh
I mean,
yeah, I've watched that happen over various fandoms and franchises and whatnot for the last quarter century.
Star Wars, Star Trek. Currently, there's a big one out
Comic.
there. And I'll give you a big one happening literally right now, Doctor Who.
Yeah, I just
They
found out about this.
finally burned Doctor Who to the ground. You know, they burned it to the ground to save it, I guess, but I don't get it. I'm like, you guys, you got a lot of us older Kuvians to come back for Tennant and Smith, and I have to admit I liked them. And you could have just kept that gravy train going, but instead you had to break it because it was wrong because white guy.
Well, what I don't get is how these people, and now that I'm going through and reading some of these replies, that
What do you mean, you people?
those
You
people,
mean you
you,
people.
you know exactly what I mean by those people.
No, we're quoting Tropic Thunder, bro.
Yeah, I know, but it just seems like they don't like the aspects of the hobby that everybody else does, and I don't understand what there is to like if you don't like those aspects of the hobby.
I think they like to see it as a tool because everything has to be a tool to further their agenda. The agenda must be complete, you know?
I think they just don't like us being in the hobby.
Yeah.
Like I keep saying on Twitter, the purpose is they don't like escapism. They don't like the fact that people can sit there and get away from their socio-political bullshit for any length of time.
Yeah.
So they have to insert it into everything.
That's how you maintain control.
Yep.
And not to mention that most people have the attention spans of goldfish and just latch on to the one thing that they agree with instead of, you know, listening to everything else.
Well, just think about 1984, and I know everybody cringes when you bring that up. There is no past, there is no future. There is only now in the party.
Yeah,
That's what they want.
Yeah.
Hence why they want to get rid of, you know, and change the lore.
The lore is whatever we say it is today.
Yep. Hence why 30K is a side story or whatever they're calling it. I don't even know.
Horace here's a who?
John Warhammer.
John Warhammer. Congratulations, Sanguinius. You won the 40,000 Warhammers.
Not 4,000.
Not 4,000.
Yeah, not 4,000. 40.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. Oh, man, just come on.
But
I think for most of them it's a parasocial relationship with not with the company but with the game. Just like you have Sims for e-girls who burn their money.
Hey,
You have these
talk about me
people
like
as
that.
well.
I said, don't be talking about me like that. I'm joking.
You have these people who form emotional attachments to a game, and they to some aspect of the game without understanding or a desire to know more.
I'm thinking of one particular account, which I won't say out loud, but that has a really weird attachment in games. So.
And when you break their equilibrium, because these people, it's bound to happen with these people. They are like, I think they behave like mostly like a spurned lover. That
Yes.
how dare you come between me and the object of my infatuation, and how dare you be in the same space as me and it, and this, I don't know, this infantile mindset of this is mine, this can be only mine, and then can I enjoy it instead of enjoying it for what it is.
And don't
Yep.
realize that once they get that, they won't enjoy it because there's no one left.
Oh yes.
Well, going back
Yeah,
and reading some of these comments that I'm seeing, all of my takes have been stuff that we've already talked about. Keep politics out. Enjoy the hobby for the hobby's sake, Nothing that can either be taken as extreme from either side. More of, just leave it out of it.
Yeah.
Let Warhammer be Warhammer, Let
Yeah,
people that
any-
enjoy Warhammer enjoy it. And you
Any
get
gaming.
yeah, you get people screaming in the fucking comments that are just like, you're a bigot, you're right wing, blah 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 blah. It's like people don't listen, especially when you're trying to explain things objectively and be like, this is why, this is the way it is, this is why people like it, this is why I like it, But we've already brought it up that it's all about tribalism. They latch on to one thing that you say, and then all of a sudden you're the bad guy. And nothing is going to change as long as that keeps happening.
Well, they admit to that when they tell you, look, guy, everybody's against you, even though they have no likes whatsoever. But they'll, everybody's laughing at you, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, dude, that might have been funny when I was in the 4th grade, but I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
It's tribalism, collectivism, and there's no reasoning. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well,
you're forgetting the most important point here is saying something isn't political is in itself a political statement.
Right. Yep, I agree.
I mean, I literally had an account that was just like unloading on me. And I said, hey, I got a question. What? It says you got 23.7 thousand followers on Twitter. I've got less than 600. How come none of them are interacting right now? They haven't interacted in 8 hours of this discussion. And that's when the fight really started. What does that have to do with anything? I'm just asking a question, man. I mean, I've had like 8 people jump in and discuss this from quote unquote my side. How come none of your 23,000 have?
You can never hit them with their own retorts.
And it's like, you're literally treating this like it's real life.
Well, that's what's infuriating is that even the people that want to stay out of it still get dragged into the fucking argument. And you could say something so incredibly ambiguous to the point of, all right, just everybody get along and enjoy the fucking hobby. And they're still going to fucking scream at you.
That's sexist. What do you mean get along?
or they got to try to find something that they think is personal, like the whole stolen valor thing. That's great.
Yeah, Badger and I get that one all the time. Well, you weren't really in the military. Well, that's funny.
PD 214 otherwise.
Yeah, and I distinctly remember spending 22 years doing something. I don't know what the fuck it was. So, yeah.
I mean, they didn't like the fact that I brought up in that Warhammer's for Everyone statement how I see all this vile shit come out of the left-hand side of the hobby. And, they can screech and holler all they want, but the fact is, it's true. You see people that claim to be on the quote-unquote right side of history on social media just saying some of the most vile shit. And people just ignore it because, that's my side. They can say whatever the fuck they want. It doesn't work that way.
Nope.
Yeah, and that's I always like to say, well, wait a minute. Or, well, yeah, right, you're married. Well, yeah, 27 years, why?
Way to deflect from the argument. Yep.
Yeah, what does that have to do with the discussion we're having again? We know you're a basement dwelling, incel. And I'm like, well, I'm not an incel. And if you have a basement in Florida, it's called a pool. So that doesn't really work either.
This is what Weezy said. I think it's just a lack of, how can I say it, self-policing. That was thrust upon us with the coming of the internet.
Yeah, you got what you call the social skills.
Yeah.
No,
yeah,
I agree completely.
You can't police you can't police who has access to the internet, but you can police who you engage with in face-to-face situation, in a local game store, in a Games Workshop store, in whatever situation. And most of the people who trust themselves into these kinds of conflicts, lack the inclination to be civil. And they enjoy when they can be mean. And
Well, it's
you can't
encouraged. They encourage
Yes.
them to do that.
Oh yeah, the bullying, because they know they can do
yeah.
it in real life.
Like you see people cheering. It's like, even again, going back to some of the stuff I've just read, there's like, oh, there's 5 likes on this. Why are you encouraging this shit? You are literally perpetuating the shit that you claim is so divisive by
Yeah.
encouraging people to just be dickheads on the internet.
I mean, you usually don't have to encourage that; it just happens.
Yeah.
So,
But you know,
Yeah,
I'll-
it's the- it's
you step out of
the
line
show
and
of anonymity.
yep.
oh yeah, yeah.
If you step out of line a little bit from whatever the rhetoric is, then all of a sudden, you know, you're the bad guy.
Wasn't
not
there
just-
something about like add anonymity, subtract common sense, or something that was explaining why people act like they do on the internet? It was from years and years ago, like the early
Yeah.
days.
Yeah, or not just that, but stay out of line in any way without knowing where the lines are. For example, when the 9th edition set Leviathan, or I don't know which or 10th, I don't know which one was doing rounds in influencer circles with freebies, I happened upon a YouTube video from some small channel with, I don't know, less than 500 subscribers, and the premise was that the person doing the video painted every day 30 minutes and tried to paint all of the box till the release date. And I just commented really basic stuff like, get a wet palette, don't paint from the bottle. What
Just
else?
good advice.
Yes, just general advice, because it dilute your paint, get a hobby blade to get all the flash, and this kind of thing.
So it's like
So-
literally the shit Badger's been telling me over the past week. Look,
And-
you dumb bastard.
And the first reaction from the painter was, "I didn't ask for advice. Fuck you." And or this is how it can be summed up. And then I was then I had an extra grind, and I unleashed the
You went full
Construct.
asshole.
not full asshole, but I unleashed the criticism part of the constructive criticism,
Yeah.
and subtracted the constructive part, because by the end I said that, okay, if you want to play this, your shit look like finger painting, and I don't know why they sent you anything at all. And
You could have done a
where I
better
left
job
it.
of dipping it in a mud puddle, dude.
Could have wiped dog shit on it and got better results.
I'm actually gonna try that. Finger painting a mini.
Oh, I was gonna say wiping dog shit on
It's
it.
been done. It's been done on YouTube.
I could have let my cat drag it to the litter box and got a better result.
But you know, I think I mean, nobody says you have to be nice to everybody on the internet, you know. I think it's the same way most of us would interact with anybody else. If you're respectful, I'm going to be respectful back. But you know, some people just go for the throat right off the bat, and you're like, whoa. I wasn't being an
Yes.
asshole. I was just trying to help.
Yes, and any perceived, I don't know what, criticism always warrants the most extremes of reactions from the other side, and I don't understand why. Because when I write a comment, when I write a tweet, or when I answer a tweet, I sit on it about 10 to 15 minutes, thinking, okay, will it be conducive? Is it going to be conducive to the conversation? Is it a good idea to say this to this person at this time of the day? And 9 times out of 10, I decide, okay, I'm not going to send it.
Yeah, and that's why, you know, the first time that I got a whole bunch of criticism from one of my Warhammer videos on YouTube, I asked counterpoints. I was like, dude, it's like people watch 3 minutes of the video and start talking shit on a 12-minute long video. And I was like, is this normal? And his only response was, farm their tears. And I was like, well, all right.
Alrighty then.
I'm not going to get it too far into it, but because there's a lot of things that aren't connected to social media that I've seen that play into this. But I think the internet as a whole has kind of amplified a latent narcissism in people.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So
So,
that is my
and I think
What I
that's
was saying at the beginning.
that is my biggest gripe. And yeah, Badger already said it, is all these people, you know, all of a sudden people are getting attention that they didn't have, that they wanted, and they feel like they can say or do whatever the fuck they want, regardless of whatever anybody else says, you know. And I honestly, it's encouraged. And we've seen accounts that all they do is rage bait, and they keep doing it. Why? Because nobody's discouraging it.
Well, and we have to take into account, and I don't want to sound like the proverbial boomer here, but remember, we are dealing with a lot of people that maybe have never really been told no in their life.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
You know, we're dealing with people that mom and dad said, you're the greatest thing ever. You got a trophy for absolutely sucking at dodgeball. And I mean, most of us are probably old enough to remember when you did really risk a smack on the ass for screwing up too bad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And so everything you did and said was weighed to, it was literally like that old Bugs Bunny cartoon. If I doed it, I get a whipping. I doed it. You know, you had to make that choice in your head. They've never had to make that choice. That is never so. And the internet just turns that shit up to 11. I could do and say whatever I want. Who's going to stop me? And I like to turn that back on them by telling them when they get all pissy with me. I'm like, yeah, but what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, all these people getting attention that it's like, well, this person probably shouldn't be getting attention.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen some accounts across the board, YouTube, TikTok, you name it, where people have millions of followers, and I'm just like, how would you survive outside of social media? Like,
they're probably the most meek little mice you've ever met. You know, the kind of people that, what's the old saying? You wouldn't say boo to a goose. So, because they know they're self-aware enough to know they couldn't do that shit outside. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
But then every once in a while, we've seen the rise of the Karen. So people do think they can get away with that shit.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like that one guy in Japan, what's his name? Johnny Somali.
Oh
my God, that's
Oh
piece of
god
shit.
damn, dude.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, that dude, Franklin.
He's not leaving anytime soon.
Yeah, I heard Japanese prisons are not the best place to be anyway. So
Yeah. But people like that, where it's like, oh, they're getting clicks, getting attention. So they keep doing it, they keep doing it until they finally get to the fuck around and find out portion of reality. What was it? There was another prank channel or something that the guy was acting like he was going to rob some old guy from his groceries, and the dude pulled a gun on him.
yeah,
Not just that, a YouTuber have been shot with a 38.
Yeah.
Because he tried to prank with a delivery guy.
The one in the airport, right? It was an airport?
It was a mall.
Mall.
Yeah. It's
So-
like,
Yeah, and going back further, there was before TikTok and whatnot. A few years back, it was a big thing on YouTube. It was streaming in real life. And live streaming in real life, people would go out and they would have some dumb gimmick that could get them into an embarrassing situation or whatever. And a lot of people had FAFO moments, like big time FAFO moments, doing that.
yeah, because people aren't, I mean, it's already been said, people aren't going to put up with that shit in real life. Especially not in Texas or Florida.
Well, look at
the guy that
one of the big incidents I'm thinking of happened in Florida.
what a shock.
Well, look at the guy that bullied that Dash or DoorDash guy, and he got shot in the stomach twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, just drew. Oh well, and it's not really bullying, but need I bring up the guy in South America that they were blocking the road?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
the
And he
climate
just-
change.
Oh yeah.
And watch his face. It never changes
he was just-
expression.
He was
could've
just
been-
tired of it.
Yeah, he could have just been looking at a dead tree branch laying in the road. And as a lot of people said, this was literally that old movie Falling Down in real life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sick of your shit.
Well, as CDAP brought it up in Florida, I was half expecting a man wrestles alligator wearing fishnet stockings headline to come out of there.
That's Tuesday, man. That's not anymore.
Still, my favorite Florida man story is the dude who tried to rob, I think it was a Wendy's with an alligator.
Through the alligator through the drive-through window. I don't even think I'm upset, man. They just got out of the way. I mean, it's like there's 2 million alligators in this state. I don't know who counted them, but a 7-foot gator. That's a baby, man. Come on.
Oh
We got
yeah.
16-foot snakes down here. We don't even look sideways.
The funniest thing I saw was how people are actually hunting iguanas in Florida now.
Oh yeah.
And I was like-
cold.
Yeah, I was
they
like,
just-
"What the hell is happening?"
Yeah, they just fall out of the tree, man. You gotta be careful if it's below about 40 degrees. The iguanas just fall out of the trees. You tell a Floridian, they're like, okay, cool.
Metronoid, when that starts happening in your country, let me know so I can move.
I mean, we now have monitor lizards here. Yeah. We have
Oh,
actual
God.
monitor lizards here. So now we're like, okay, it wasn't the 16-foot snakes, it wasn't the crocs, it wasn't the gators. What broke us were the dinosaurs.
Yeah,
So
but all right. Well, we've hit the hour and a half mark, or 2.5 hours. No, 2.5 hours.
Yeah, I
yeah,
think-
yeah.
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 So we got any closing
Are you
statements?
still monetized or
I don't. I won't know until the VOD finally
Oh,
uploads.
okay.
I just
Because
want
if
to
you
say
are,
thanks for having
we
me.
don't know the limits.
Yeah, as always, I
Thanks
wanted
for
to.
having us.
Yeah. I want to turn this into a regular thing where people can just talk about whatever. I even noticed some people were saying, "Oh, I would have said something a different way." Well, I'm not discouraging people
All
with
right.
alternate opinions from joining the conversation. I'm perfectly happy hearing a different point of view if people can stay respectable, which most of them can't. But
See, we'll have to bring our friend Dan on. Dan's favorite thing is to go bait porn bots on Twitter. And
Oh god.
I'm not even joking about that.
I've got to see this shit.
Oh yeah, he loves it. I mean, everybody thinks he's literally like believes in what they're saying. No, this is his hobby. He finds e-thoughts and porn bots and baits them. It's like, dude,
Not I
That sounds
ladies.
fantastic.
yeah. He's another vet. I'm sure you figure we're not all really there in the head. So
I've known plenty of vets, and yeah, there's a best way I can put it is there's a shit posting quality
oh yeah.
to vet. So
But yeah, so yeah, thank you Rich for having on, and anytime. And if there's not enough space, then I'll get my big mouth ass out of the way. So
yeah, no, like I
here.
said, I appreciate all y'all showing up, and it's always good to have a conversation about whatever's happening.
we
Yeah.
had plenty of fodder today, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
I
just
just have a
general-
statement and a question.
sure.
Oh, go ahead. I have a statement and a question. So
No,
Just-
go ahead.
shoot your statement.
okay. One, I'm glad I made it today. I kept threatening to make it, but scheduling stuff. I had fun today. I want to do this again. And Wheezy, is that a salamander figurine?
In the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the
Down
box.
below it is.
Yeah. And wait,
I'm jealous.
wait for it.
Gotta wait for the video to catch up.
There we go.
They're gonna have you on a 2-hour delay.
Oh, well, you can always fast forward. I think I set it to like a 10-second delay or something like that. I'll just keep holding it up until somebody says something.
Oh no, I was talking about the one on the wall.
On the wall? Oh,
Yeah,
that one?
the the big box.
That is the Dark Angels McFarlane.
Oh,
Well,
figure.
you got a
Oh, okay.
salamander down there by your calculator or whatever that is.
Oh yeah, like all the Joy Toys that are sitting on there. That's why I was so happy when I saw that statement from them. I was like, I'm gonna buy all your shit. I don't care.
no, I'm a big Salamanders fan.
Yeah,
so
me too.
that's why I was asking. So
What are you talking about, Badger? I heard you going on about Ultramarines, man.
I'll stab you.
Oh, Robotech Girly, man, you're so awesome.
Hey, I am an Ultramarines fanboy. Okay, I love
There's
my
always
blueberries.
one, man, there's always one.
Damn.
Yeah, but he dogs on me because I still talk good shit about Imperial Fist. So, see, again, these are the arguments we're supposed to be having.
Well, I can't like the Ultramarines since 5th edition Matt Ward. That was a low blow, but that 5th edition gave us the Legion of the Damned miniatures that I'm still hunting for, because when
Badger
they
has
were a
them.
thing,
Matt Ward ruined everything, ruined Necrons or everything.
yes,
For
and
me, anyway.
For me as well, and I remember the 4th edition Space Marine Codex. It's on my shelf, where we had a really good chart how to make non-codex compliant chapters and how you can play around with the force organization chart with unit limitations, and so weiter and so forth, and that was, I think, the peak. And also Necrons. I think the Tom King's in space, and this is my hot take for the day. The Tom King's in space is stupid. The dynasties are stupid. The Necrons were scary.
I'm not
and
even sure that's a hot take at this point.
The Necrons were scary and frightening when they were a faceless,
Mysterious.
yes, a faceless, mysterious force of nature,
Like the
directly,
Tyranids.
directly controlled by Targats that, for when they were hungry, were eating literal stars.
Do you see
And
that? This
now-
is what you and I were talking about a couple days ago. Exactly what he's saying.
Yeah, and also how it applies also to Tyranids. I want
Yes.
space locust, okay? I want
Yes.
terror. I don't want to discuss, philosophy with a bug, okay? The only good bug is a dead bug,
Oh boy.
Yes,
and I'm not even
Yeah,
from Buenos Aires.
yes, and
yeah,
my introduction to the tabletop was a 3rd edition Tyranids Codex, and it's still with me today that the paint schemes they had and the lore and how they eat up a whole planet.
Yeah.
And they were an absolute menace. And now with these mutations and this and that, the other, and it's
Back in
mutating
my
into the
day.
Zergs. It's mutating into the Zergs.
That is kind of what it seems like they're doing, aren't they? They're gonna spring a Zerg Queen. I'm telling you.
Oh god.
if
Not the non
See,
queen,
something like-
please. Too many eagers on
Ah.
on that.
There's a whole nother
Wait.
discussion for another day.
Yeah.
Norn Queen menace.
the way to do like something like Tyranids, if you were to give them some sort of consciousness, is to make it so alien that make it like a Lovecraftian horror where just even touching it drives you insane. You know it's there, but you can't interact with it in any meaningful way.
So, like your first girlfriend. I'm sorry.
More or less, yeah.
The girl you had a crush on. Yeah. You know it's there, but you can't touch it.
Everybody's first girlfriend.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, gentlemen, thank you so much, and thank you, Wheezy, for having me on.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Wheezy.
Thank you.
Yep.
We got to
Yeah,
run.
we'll do it
Yeah,
again.
I-
Just have to think of another topic that probably piss people off.
Yeah, I have to.
Warhammer
Yeah,
Eagles.
I have to do this. I have to do this again.
That's what we'll get Dan here for. That's how we'll get him on here.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
That will get really spicy and really hot real fast.
All right,
We see
take
me
care,
putting
everyone.
pictures up. Look, he's already left.
No,
So-
no,
All right,
I'm
take
here.
it easy.
All right, y'all.
Later.
Take care,
thanks,
everybody.
thanks
It
for
was a
having me. I
pleasure.
hope to